Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another stream, and this one, a massive one. The Super Rugby Pacific 2025 final. Crusaders taking on the Chiefs. It's been a much anticipated matchup between the sides, and this one, it's very intriguing because the Crusaders come in as the betting underdogs for this contest. Now, they're sitting 31-0 in terms of home matches for playoff rugby. They've been victorious every single time, but this year 2 wins for the Chiefs. So it's very intriguing, like I mentioned, in the game only about 30 minutes away from kicking off. We will look through at these starting lineups for these two sides. I've also got a whole heap of stats as well as a few other little fun bits and pieces before we do get to the kickoff for the Crusaders. In their starting side, it will be Tamaiti Williams, Cody Taylor, and Fletcher Null as the number 3. He's been one of the standout props throughout Super Rugby Pacific, and I would be extremely surprised if we don't see those 3 men named in the All Blacks squad. On Monday, Scott Barrett at number 4 with Antonio Chalfoun slotting in at number 5, 2 of the 3 most penalised players for the Crusaders throughout this season. Of course, this type of contest, discipline could be extremely important. It might be a low-scoring game, unlike the 2 that we've seen throughout this season, so every point that you can see could be vital. So we have to make sure that discipline's intact. In terms of the loose ball trio, Ethan Blackett is still there at number 6, Tom Christie at 7, and Christian Leo Willie, some are calling an AB's bolter, slotting in. And the number 8 jersey, Noah Hotham alongside Raves Rehana, quite a young combination in their 19 channel for the Crusaders. David Harvelli and Braden Enor as the 12 and 13, with Macca Springer, Sevu Reese, and of course the X Factor at 15, Will Jordan. He's already scored 9 tries throughout this season. He was a pivotal member of that Crusader side up against the Blues last week in the semi, and he will have to do it again here in the Super Rugby Pacific final. Looking through at the Chiefs starting lineup for this contest, it is Ollie Norris, Samasoni Taukiaho as the 2, and George Dyer slotting in at number 3, Naitoa Koi and Tupavai in the locking duo. Now, Naitoa Koi, a very impressive man when it comes to line-out steals throughout this season, so we have to wait and see if he can get a couple. And at this matchup, Tupavai, of course, has been an absolute standout throughout this year, and I do hope that he can continue his form. I do think that lineouts are going to be so crucial, and not just because of the fact that the Crusaders have conceded quite a few penalties throughout their locks, but also because the Chiefs, that is where some of their best attackers come from that set piece and getting it moving right from the get-go. Summer Penny Finau at number 6 with Luke Jacobson 7 and Wallace Satiti as the starting number 8. A dangerous trio going head-to-head with 3 great Crusaders in that loose forward trio as well. There's just so many head-to-heads throughout this matchup that are going to be must-see. And like I mentioned, we're not too far away from the start of this contest. Cortez Ratama, the most accurate passer with over 200 passes throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Of course, a few of the men do sneak a little bit above, such as Riley Ohepa, 67 from 67 with the 100%. But Cortez Ratama with a 98.7% accuracy, certainly a handy man to have playing scrum half. Damien McKenzie in the number 10 jersey here has got the most points out of any player throughout Super Rugby Pacific by a mile. Quintupai and Daniel Rona in the middle of the field with Leroy Carter, Amoni Narawa, and Sean Stevenson. He was a bit of a concern after failing his HIA last week in their game up against the Brumbies, but somehow, some way, he is able to play, and he will be another one to keep an eye on for this matchup. But in the chat, we have got their knuckle up time. 2 good teams. Crusaders for the win, says Jeff. Is it just this game this week? It is just this game. It is the Super Rugby Pacific final. And we have got the Ahenia said yes there, and also guesses Will Jordan, who's going to be able to score first. He's done it quite a few times throughout this season, Will Jordan. And like I said, one of the key players for them in the game last week up against the Blues. He stepped up. He even scored a try pretty much from the ruck as almost a forward role from Will Jordan. But he is really shown the difference that he can make to the side. Definitely because last year they didn't have him. And I do think that heavily hurt the Crusaders. Now that he's back and 100%, he's definitely going to be an X factor for them in this game. Looking through at the benches for these two sides. First of all, for the Crusaders, they have once again got George Bell, number 16 jersey. I say it each and every week. I feel bad for Moana Nu, who did have such a great start to the season, just to then miss out once George Bell did return. George Bell, another George, in their number 17 jersey, and Seb Calder there as the number 18. Jamie Hanna, that makes the most tackles per 80 minutes of rugby out of any player in Super Rugby Pacific. He does make his way often off the bench and likes to add that little bit more pace to the game. So it will be intriguing. See what he can do there. Cullen Grace, the most penalised Crusader of all at the number 20 position. Kyle Preston, 21. James O'Connor, 22 for his last game on New Zealand soil. And then Dallas McLeod as the number 23. Now, I should clarify the last game on New Zealand soil for the Crusaders. Perhaps Joe Schmidt might look at O'Connor as a potential fly half option when we get to the Rugby Championship. Just around the corner for the Chiefs, they have got Brodie McAllister, Aidan Ross, and Ruben O'Neill as the number 18. Jimmy Tupou at 19, so no Josh Lord for this matchup. Kalen Boshier did get to start that game at 7 a couple weeks ago when Jacobson was absent. Xavier Rowe, Josh Jacob, and Atena Nanasatoro, a man who did seem like with that Sean Stevenson injury was going to be in the starting side, but in the end will instead be on the bench. We have got there, go the Crusaders there, Sakabula. Crusaders to score over 21.5 points. Our $1.89, that is the best of the day. Taking it all day, every day. And that's the thing, like, yes, it's a final, and yes, there may be some low-scoring parts of this contest, but both these sides know how to score points, and they often do. The last 2 times that they've gone head-to-head, we've got the score lines here. In fact, we've got actually the last 10 times that they did face off, but the last 2, we did see on the 10th of May, the Crusaders were defeated, and it was actually at this stadium, 35 points to 19. And then the game prior to that, it was at FMG Stadium, and the Crusaders, they were also defeated, 49 points to 24. So they haven't had the best run up against the Chiefs just for this season. And the Chiefs have actually had their number for a little bit of time. In the last 7 matches, the Crusaders have only won 2. But one of those 2 was the Super Rugby Aotearoa final. And we all know how that one ended up going. Just put my vote in for who I reckon will win. Gosh, so far, it is very close with the nod going to the Chiefs at this stage. And the thing is, that's exactly the same as the betting odds for this contest. It started off with the Crusaders as slight favourites. Then the money seemed to come in on the Chiefs a little bit. And now the Chiefs heading into this match are considered betting favourites. But I don't know whether or not that benefits the Chiefs. I think they prefer the underdog status. In a game like this, you're facing a side, like I mentioned, 31-0 in playoff rugby at their home stadium. And you're coming in as favourites up against them. So that can be, of course, a lot of pressure, a lot of weight on the shoulders of someone like a Damian McKenzie. Are you back in any team or just neutral? I'm neutral for this game. I just really hope it's a great final. We've seen these 2 sides put on great matches before. Not so much this season, unfortunately. The 2 times that they've played, they have been split by 16 or more points. I feel like this final, we've got to have it a little bit closer than that one. We have got there, who would have thought that the Crusaders will come back after a small or after a dismal display last year. A very different attitude as last year, strong to both teams. And I do think that certain players returning have really helped that process go by a little bit quicker. The likes of a Will Jordan back, adding his 9 tries for this year certainly makes a difference when you look at some of those close games that Jordan's been able to impact. You've got Ethan Blackadder, even to a certain extent. You know, yes, he's injured every 3 or 4 weeks, but during the time that he's out there, he does really just put in hits and try his absolute best to get the Crusaders on the front foot. And it just seems to be that mentality that seems to also drive a few of the other players. You look at someone like a Christian Leo Willie. He didn't have a bad season last year, but this year really stepping up and put himself in the All Blacks running. You've got Reese, who's still scoring tries out on the wing. We saw Macca Springer really come into his own too. But when talking about wings, we have to talk about the 2 on the wings for the Chiefs. Leroy Carter, who's been a bit of a standout superstar for this season, out on the left, and Amoni Narawa. He is out on the right. Brilliant tackling percentage for Amoni Narawa this year. And then Leroy Carter, of course, beating defenders for fun and also scoring a lot of tries. What do you think of State of Origin? It was great to see that it's now 1-1. So we might even consider doing that 3rd match on the channel. Perhaps I was going to do the 2nd one, but ended up just watching it instead. But yeah, very good comeback in the end by the Blues, just to then be that half hurdle short. And we have got there, go the Chiefs history in the making, being a while hard the Chiefs. Sears Dean there, and said the Crusaders concentrating on a cowbell ban for their solution, Chiefs 10 plus. Sears Andre, although we should mention it's not the team that did actually go for that ban. Cody Taylor said more than happy to have the cowbells in the stands. And the thing is, even when banning it, like, people are going to have Bluetooth speakers, they're going to have cowbell apps on their phones, and if anything, it's going to lead to more atmosphere. So it also makes you wonder, is there some sort of little conspiracy that was to try and annoy some fans into making more noise, because if that was the plan, they're going to have it, because there's going to be double the noise now, if not even more. And show them how it's done. Crusaders all the way, says Ski. And I might be late on this, but I heard that the Boomers beat the Lions. Thoughts on the game? Lions look lackluster for their first match. You could understand a little bit of rust for that first half, but even in the second, they just couldn't gel. And Argentina made the absolute most of the opportunities they were given. Like, any chance that they had down the wings, Inacio Mendy, as well as Rodrigo Isdro, like, it's been pretty impressive in terms of the versatility of that Argentinian backline. When they are missing someone like a Santiago Soja in the middle, like, they just still looked like a great side. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do up against the English in their 2 July internationals. I read they banned them because in 2023 finals, the Chiefs banned Crusaders flags. Not sure how accurate that is. You think it's maybe a little bit of mind games then between the two sides. But, like, that's the thing. I don't think it's going to make any difference, because people are still going to, like I said, they'll still have their Bluetooth speakers. They will still be loud and proud for their Chiefs side. And if anything, it's going to have more of an effect in terms of the noise. We have got there, I'm currently watching a 1-minute ad for you, Hamish, no skips, says Isaac. So we do appreciate that. Of course, I'll have to thank you in a minute's time. Why don't you come back? The headphone man, says Nick, for do I remember him? I know that you were trying to buy my headphones about 2 years ago, Nick. I've still got the same pair. So, I mean, in terms of their, I guess, resilience to being dropped and whatnot, it's pretty good. What's with the banning of the cowbells? I hope you are right, and cowbells reign supreme, says John Wilson. Yeah, I think it's either, like, because don't get me wrong, the seats are very tight at Orange Theory Stadium. When we went to the game up against the Highlanders a while ago, like, you know, you're pretty much sitting like this. You're trying to clap in front of you like that. But a cowbell, like, you can still ring it in front of you, can't you? I won't do the motion for too long because it looks like I'm doing something else. But, like, I think it's just mind games from the two sides. Like Cody Taylor said, get the cowbells out. We don't care. Just do it. And had game 2 here in Perth. It was crazy atmosphere the last 10 minutes. Really thought we had a chance. CS stay on there. And also we have got there, hi Hamish, you look great in a tie. CS Ski, thank you very much. Do appreciate it. Although for some reason this tie has ended up absolutely massive today. I'm not too sure why. And boring game, they know each other. It's like an All Blacks trial game, says Angie. But the thing is, when sides know each other, that can sometimes lead to the best kind of games. And like you mentioned, All Blacks trial, absolutely, because it's all about, like, at the end of the day, all these sides know each other very well. They're all friends off the field. International rugby, a little bit the same. Because of how much footage there is nowadays, everyone knows every little thing that sides are going to do. So that's where you have to be tactical. And that's where it actually sometimes can be the most impressive rugby, when you've had to play it like a chess match rather than going into it with the unknown. These guys have to play top-level rugby to beat each other, and I'm hoping that's what we're going to see. And this one, should I head down to the stadium and do some sideline reporting? Says Isaac, well, it is sold out, so it might be quite hard to get in there. And we've also learned how hard it is to find a park, so you might be walking about 5Ks just to get there. But, I mean, would be a decent atmosphere. You'll probably hear a lot of cowbells, even though they've been banned from this one. Shout out to Gillen and Graham from Rangiora. Says Nick, are we having the game playing on the screen? Sadly, not due to licensing. Any match footage or audio gets you taken straight off YouTube, but we will be doing the play-by-play commentary all throughout this match, so be sure to stick around for that. But sadly, you won't be able to find it anywhere on YouTube. Anywhere that has it on YouTube will get copyright struck pretty quickly. I think the start is going to be quite important, says NZ Riot. Absolutely. And let's hope you see a lot of Damien Smiles. Well, that's the thing. He got 20 points in his last contest up against the Brumbies for Damien McKenzie. He is the highest scoring points man of the whole competition by quite a substantial margin. But talking about these two sides and their head-to-heads, I was looking through at all the stats, as I sometimes do, and there are very little stats that are actually in favour of the Crusaders. Of about the 25 that they've got available, the ones that the Crusaders win in is the amount of tackles they have to make per game, which is not ideal. Like, of course, you want to be making your tackles, and the fact that they haven't conceded a huge amount of tries also is beneficial there. They both score 4.9 tries per game, and then the other stat that is in their favour, which I think is quite a crucial one, is lineout success. And the reason I say that's crucial is because we've seen so many steals from the Chiefs throughout this season when it comes to their lineout. Naitai Akoi, I believe, sitting there with 6. Josh Lord, who's not playing in this game, he had 5. Tupavai's got a couple. Samapeni Finau, they can target him in the line out in terms of that Chiefs throw. So whether or not Crusaders can sneak one or two steals of their own right. Scott Barrett's got a few throughout this year. Up Todd Barrett says, Nick Darren, go Crusaders, says Lynn High, says Rusty Wright, welcome in. And my honest opinion is that the Crusaders are the greatest rugby club franchise on this planet, the bulk of New Zealand rugby, says Jeff. And we'll have to wait and see whether or not the All Blacks selection also does replicate that. The thing is, I do think that at this current point in time, they probably have an All Black squad pretty much penciled in. It's being announced on Monday, the 23rd of June, so they've only got 2 days. Razor will have, of the 35 names, I'd say he's got at least 34, maybe even he's got 35 at this point in time, but there are players in this final that perhaps could make their last-ditch effort to make it into the team. Someone like a Christian Leo Willie, who might be still on the verge, whether or not he can make it in. Someone like for instance, Ollie Norris, a guy that has been talked about quite a bit throughout this season, but whether or not he can step up against someone like a Fletcher Null, that would be a massive feather in the cap of Norris for his Super Rugby season. Some are Penny Fee now. Some are even questioning whether he will make it into the side. So a big effort here up against Blackadder, Christie and Leo Willie might be just what he needs to get that push over the line. We have there, what are we saying goodbye to? Says Brandon. What are we saying goodbye to? When do we say goodbye? And say the set piece and defence will win this. Says Abbo there. And yeah, 205 tackles on average throughout their games, the Crusaders, whereas the Chiefs have only had to make 164. Now, the Chiefs do normally have quite a bit of possession throughout their games, as proven by some of the stats for their teams. Banning cowbells, that is poor form, says Gus. Although someone mentioned it's a retaliation from the Chiefs banning flags in 2023. I don't know how correct that is. But like I said, people are still going to have their Bluetooth speakers. I think that the Waikato Rugby Club have got an app that has a cowbell noise, so everyone's just got that instead. So like I said, it's probably going to make the atmosphere louder from cowbells than had it just been cowbells normally. And Chiefs deserve the win after these loss from the previous finals. Well, that's the thing. The Chiefs have the opportunity here to make history. And not just to be the first side to beat the Crusaders in a playoff final at home, but also to be the first ever side in Super Rugby's history to win the final after losing a playoff game. Now, of course, we're in unique circumstances for this season. The Chiefs, they were defeated in their playoff final up against the Blues, but because of the lifeline, the lucky loser, as they call it, it means that they're still alive in this competition. That 20 points to 19 loss, and that was at FMG Stadium, which is why, even though the Chiefs finished top of the table, they find themselves in Christchurch for this matchup, and then they beat the Brumbies in the semi-final, 37 points to 17 for the Crusaders. They were able to get the 20-point victory over the Reds, and then the 7-point win over the Blues. It was a hard-fought victory in Christchurch. Will Jordan was a pivotal member of that Crusaders side, but the final has been booked. Crusaders now taking on the Chiefs at Apollo Project Stadium, and it's going to be a good one. At least I hope. It's going to be a little bit greasy underfoot, but that shouldn't affect too much out there on the field. How's it, Hamish, says Anthony, and D-Mac Killer Smile, says Pie there. And also we have there 22-12 in favour of the Chiefs, says Linus. So the last two sides, or the last two times that these two sides have played, both have been victories for the Chiefs. 35 points to 19. That was actually at Apollo Project Stadium. That was on the 10th of May. And then 49 points to 24. That was late February, and one of the early rounds of the competition. So the Chiefs are 2 from 2 of the last 7 games. The Chiefs have won 5. But the question is, in the final, can they do that same thing? May the better and more hungrier team win? Says Ski Crusaders will win. Says Suliano, Will Jordan to score again tonight, says David. And I did hear that Will Jordan, for every try that he scored throughout the season, as well as any tries that he scores in the final, he is actually donating $1,000 to a kids' charity, which is pretty awesome. $9,000 raised so far from Will Jordan. But could he get maybe a couple more grand in the pocket for the charity by the end of this one? We have got there, we saw an Argentinian miracle yesterday, but I can't split these two teams. Both are very good, and the odds makers are finding it very hard to split them too. The fact that the odds started off with the Crusaders as slight favourite, then the Chiefs have become the $1.80 favourite now, with the Crusaders coming in as $2 underdogs. They are such a normally even side in terms of some of the statistics, but like I said, most of them point in favour of the Chiefs, but the big one that doesn't is the fact that we have seen the Chiefs being able to get themselves 2 wins this season. One would think this is going to be a humdinger of a game. Says John there, and Reese will score 2 tries. Says Suliano, and over 79.5 locked in too. Or sorry, it's 47.5. $50 each, says Martin in. We see there a sold out crowd. I feel like it's going to get louder and louder as this match does wear on. Another question that a few people will have, of course, how quick's the Colonel going to be? At halftime, we saw him absolutely smoke everyone in the playoffs. Then we saw the semi-finals, how they slowed him right down to let people win the chicken. But how quick is the man going to be when the pressure is on for the final? $25 locked in on Will Jordan anytime try scorer 2, says Martin in. And we have got there, Hamish, where's your cowbell? Every time there are points, you need to ring the bell, says Xander. Yeah, I don't actually own a cowbell. I know that there's an app that a lot of people at the game would have already downloaded for this one. As a neutral, it'd be nice to see the Chiefs win, says Colin. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the Chiefs, for the overall sake of Super Rugby, I do think are the better side to win this in terms of the unpredictability of the comp. Whereas the Crusaders, you know, they're expected to win, and they often do in this scenario when they're at home. 31-0 is a massive streak, but the Chiefs this year have looked like they've got enough to be able to break that. I don't care who wins, Crusaders and Chiefs are cheaters, says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, your Blues aren't here, are they, Kiwi Rob? I don't know who you'll be cheering for in this scenario. What is your score prediction, says Skylar? To be honest, I'm thinking about a 25-20. And now that I think about it, that was actually the score for the Super Rugby Aotearoa final a few years ago. So maybe that's where that score's coming from. But I think it's going to be split by 5. A very close game between the two. Geez, negative much, Rob, says Novmum. I mean, there are 3 things that are guaranteed. Death, taxes, and Kiwi Rob's negativity. And in this case, we've seen it once again. Good style of play from the Chiefs, says Colin. And let's go Crusaders home advantage, says Aloy. And we have there your thoughts on the Argies win over Lions. Absolutely massive for Argentina. Like, the Lions came into that game as heavy favourites, and Argentina showed that not only can they be an underdog and win, I mean, we already knew that, but they're taking a really good step in the right direction, and hopefully they'll be competitive throughout their games up against England as well as in the Rugby Championship too. Is the game going on right now? Not quite. Still another 10 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest. What are your thoughts on Finley Christie coming back to the All Black squad? I don't like his chances, but if they want to go with a little bit more experience, then perhaps he could come in as that 3rd choice halfback behind, I would say, Roygaard and Ratama. But with Scott Robertson as the selector, I think that Noah Hotham's probably the more likely option there. I'm back in the Chiefs, can't remember his name. The Chiefs winger will score the winner. Is that Amoni Narawa or Leroy Carter? Because honestly, both of them have got such a great chance of being able to cross the try line here. Will you show it to us? I don't got Sky Sports. Sadly, due to licensing, any match footage or audio that you show on YouTube gets you taken straight down. Copyright strike, banned for 3 months. So we are just doing the play-by-play commentary for this one. But yeah, Sky Sport, definitely an option in terms of where to watch it. Stan Sport have it. DSTV in South Africa, and Flow Rugby, I believe, is the other one who has got it available. My son has been instructed not to bug me during the game, says Novmum. I'm expecting a 4-point difference between the two teams. Hope the Crusaders win, says David. And let's go Chiefs supporters, says Benny there. And also Mumsy doesn't think much of Christie, says Glenn Woods. You have to think that RGs have been together a lot of Lions players. You can't take Lions losing one game, says Kiwi Rob. Once again, Rob, we didn't say that. You just make shit up. But in terms of, like, Argentina, you could say they have been a side before, but you've got to remember they were also missing their top 14 players. Alongside that, they also haven't played a game since last November. A lot of those guys were playing for England in only February. So, you know, in fact, it was later than that. We have got a massive donation from Xavier Brown. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Much love, Hamish, as always. Let's get hyped in Super Rugby Grand Final time. On a side note, who's the one Wallabies player who was lucky to make the squad, unlucky to miss out? Oh. See, the thing is it bad to say that James O'Connor's unlucky to miss out if I do think he's still going to be added a little bit later on? Like, I do think that they need his experience up against the British and Irish Lions. Yes, they can go with those young guys, of course, but I'd like to still see him in there somewhere. Someone who's lucky to make the squad's a bit of a tricky one because I feel like everyone who's there is relatively up there. I'd say that someone else who was unlucky, I think Dylan Peach missed out, didn't he? And I feel like he's one of those guys out on the wing who could have quite a bit of success in the future for them if given those chances. But unfortunately, the pure pace of a lot of those other wingers does get him just that little bit further down the list. Good evening, Amish. Go the Mighty Chiefs, says David there. And also we have there Never Lost Faith in the Crusaders, says Colossus. And James O'Connor isn't going to play for Aussie this year because he's going to UK next year. Oh, is he? Well, there you go. That'll be why did miss out then. And I guess that, well, to be fair though, Aussie have a different selection policy to us, don't they? Ours, Nick White selected over Ryan Lonergan as beyond me. Yeah, that's probably another one that, like, Lonergan, he's been pretty solid throughout this year. In fact, he's been more than solid at times, but seems to always be about the third or fourth choice for the Australians. Whenever the Crusaders are always the team to beat. These blokes are really good. Where'd that go? Really good playing in finals. Yeah, 31-0 at home games. Does it stream the actual game, says Amelia. Sadly, not due to licensing on YouTube. You won't be able to find the Super Rugby match anywhere. And if you do find it anywhere, it will probably get taken down in a very short amount of time. We have got the Havili is so odd, I think was the comment. Oh, so old. This is his 400 final. Good luck to him. Let's go. The Chiefs, says you're rough. And Argentina had a well-deserved, well-earned victory. Exactly right. And we have good there. Crusaders, let's go, boys, says Ruth. And there as well. But the hype package is just playing. So as that is happening, ladies and gents, we will show you the starting lineups for these two sides as we sit only 8 minutes away from the start of this contest. Mighty Williams, Cody Taylor, and Fletcher Null as the front row. All Blacks, and I believe all will be when the squad is announced on Monday as well. Scott Barrett is the number 4 with Antonio Chalfoun sorting in at 5 with Ethan Blackadder, Tom Christie, and Christian Leo Willie, who has been a standout at 8, is there. And the 4-pack, 2, Noah Hotham and Rayvez Rayhan are the young Crusaders combo at 9 and 10. David Havili and Braden Enor in the midfield. Macca Springer, Sever Reese, and Will Jordan at number 15, already scoring 9 tries throughout this season. I would not be surprised if we see 1 or 2 more in this final as well. For the Chiefs in their starting lineup, Ollie Norris, Samasoni, Taukiaho, and George Dyer slotting in at tight head prop. If he has a massive game up against the Mighty Williams, by the way, perhaps he could even put his name in the running in terms of another, I guess, soon opportunity for the ABs. In terms of the locking duo, it is a formidable one in Naito Akoi alongside Tupavai. And then in terms of that loose forward trio, Samapeni Finau, Wallace Satiti is there as the number 8, and Luke Jacobson is the number 7. Cortez Ratuma and Damian McKenzie, they've been a dangerous combo all throughout the Super Rugby Pacific season. Quintupai and Daniel Rona, same can be said about them in the centre pairing with Leroy Carter and Moni Narawa and Sean Stevenson there as the number 15. But those are the starting lineups and reserves, ladies and gentlemen. Does he stream the game? We sadly do not, due to licensing. Any match footage or audio gets you taken straight off YouTube, so we are only able to do the play-by-play. Unfortunately, the only options to watch the Super Rugby final are through paid subscriptions, whether that's Sky, Stan, DSTV, or Flow Rugby as the other options. And Monday is the All Blacks naming for French Test. That is true. And we have got there, the team will, with the most points, will win quite confidently here. Or quietly confident, says Jason. Just showing those starting lineups as the horses gallop around the ground. 31-0 is on the line. Can the Chiefs, who have beaten the Crusaders twice this season, get the job done? And g'day, says Jake. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Hope you're excited for this game. Of course, do let me know your score predictions for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Who will be the team that lifts the trophy, and by how much will they be able to win by? Can't wait for the international. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, there's some really good ones coming up. Next weekend, we get to see the Springboks taking on the Barbarians. I think that, is it Italy are playing Namibia in one of those contests? In fact, it might even be someone else playing the Namibians in that matchup, but it's going to be some great games taking place next week. Japan next week taking on the Māori All Blacks, where I think we'll see a few of these guys in that squad too. Ban the cowbells, did they say? They did, but then everyone's got Bluetooth speakers nowadays. Everyone's got an app on their phone that has the option of bringing a cowbell, so it didn't really work. So we're going to hear cowbells no matter what. Thanks for the unrequired information as usual, Kiwi Rob, says Jason there. And just Google ways to see it. But this place is a cool place to hang out with other rugby fans. So here's Guy Brush. And we have got there, yes, Chiefs gets the job done. I kick Crusaders' ass for the third time, says Penny. Well, that's the thing. It is finals rugby, of course, and the Chiefs, they've had a trend lately, which is make it very far in the comp just to then miss out at the final hurdle, but they want to turn that around. 4 degrees Celsius, 7 kilometres of wind for this matchup. Cape Town, the Crusaders, or the home of the Crusaders supporters, and 26 points to 19 for Ski's prediction. Where can I watch it live from the US? I believe it's on Flow Rugby in the USA, but I would definitely check the Super Rugby website first just to make sure before signing up to any subscription, but it is sold out in Christchurch. A lot of Chiefs supporters look like they have made the trip for this one too, but the Crusaders, they are defending their turf up against what is a strong Chiefs outfit with some incredible stats throughout this season to back them up, just in terms of where they sit number one in the competition, ladies and gentlemen. They are first for points averaged throughout every game with an average of 37.9 for their overall season. They are first equal with the Crusaders with 4.9 tries per matchup. Passes, they have completed 179.6 per game. They have got the most kicks from hand out of any side, with the second most going the way of the Crusaders. They have the least missed tackles per game, the Chiefs, throughout this season. They have had 0 red cards alongside the Crusaders, and they also sit number one with scrum success, 97.2. The stat that the Crusaders have the advantage in is line-out success, sitting 88.6. So the set piece could be absolutely crucial for these two sides. But David Havili now making his way out of the tunnel. The goosebumps will be kicking in. The nerves are well and truly there already for these guys. But the Super Rugby Pacific 2025 final just about to start. Did you have a door-to-door salesman job interview today by any chance? I did not know. I'd suck at door-to-door sales because I'd knock and then I'd probably just run away. But Crusaders now making their way out to quite the ovation from the crowd. And when the Chiefs make their way out of the tunnel, of course, we're going to hear how many cowbell apps have been downloaded. The Mike D. Williams, 93% scrum success throughout his season. And also, I mean, it looked like he was going to be missing out for this final due to the injury. He did miss the last game. He's now ready to go alongside Fletcher. No up the walls. Sejal, I'm a Chiefs fan, but I feel like Crusaders are going to win. I think they should come out together, says Q. So what, they just walk out at the same time? I don't think the tunnel's wide enough. Unfortunately, definitely not the ramp anyway. They'd have to coordinate it so that one team walks out of the changing sheds, then the other get to, and then they'd have to both sneak down the narrow tunnel together. Great coverage, bro, says Mark. Thank you very much. And we are, of course, going to be here for all the internationals that are coming up in the near future. But this one, the Chiefs versus the Crusaders. A nice, humble Crusaders crowd booing the Chiefs as they're making their way onto the park. That's what you want to hear from the get-go, isn't it? The Chiefs fans. Someone's ringing a cowbell. Someone snuck it in their pants. And the thing is, what are they going to do once the cowbells are out? Are they going to start kicking people out? If so, then it's not going to be a sellout for very long. But I do think someone's got their Bluetooth speaker out. Perhaps it's even the ground. And goodbye, Sean Stevenson. We won't miss you. I think quite a few people will. Kiwi Rob, you're just negative. As always, we have got there. Come on, the Chiefs contain them in their first half. Tackle, tackle, tackle. Says David the Mod. And we have got there, Chris Jack says the Chiefs are screwed. But it's interesting because the predictions throughout this week, I've seen a lot more people backing the Chiefs to win this game than the Crusaders. Stan Sport, for instance, 6 of their 7 broadcasters have said the Chiefs are going to win this game. But that illustrious record at home for the Crusaders still is a bit of a concern, I would think. How's the weather and conditions? 4 degrees Celsius, 7 kilometres of wind. That's disrespectful crowd and booing drowned out by cowbells, says Shane. And I was like, come on, the Chiefs contain them in their first half. We got the New Zealand national anthem playing at the moment. We have got John. John has said this guy sounds like a real commentator. Thank you very much, John. Greatly appreciated. And we have got their good luck, Chiefs. Let's get it. So anyone who hasn't already, do let me know score predictions as well as who you think will score the first try in this matchup. I just get that little bit of a feeling that we might see the early crowd from the away side. Or sorry, early try from the away side, perhaps down one of the wings. In fact, my prediction, I'll go on Moni Nuttall at first try of this contest to then have the next try from the Crusaders scored within 5 minutes of Christian Leo Willie. There we go. That's going to be one of my worst predictions, I would say. We're just saying random names, but let's see what happens. An apparent unbiased man dressed in full Crusaders gear informed me that the Chiefs will lose. Says Jason, are they both from New Zealand? They certainly are, the Chiefs and the Crusaders. Crusaders residing out of Christchurch in Canterbury, and the Chiefs out of the Waikato home stadium in Hamilton. Are we going to get an Australian anthem, considering it's not just one side anthem? Says Kiwi Rob. Well, both sides are from New Zealand, Kiwi Rob. So unless they're just playing the Australian one for James O'Connor, which I'm sure he would appreciate, then they're probably just going to do the New Zealand one, seeing as, once again, they're two New Zealand teams. Hamish and Nisbo are the boss game callers, and up the cheese problem in Christchurch tonight, says Riordan. And Stevenson to score first, says Lex Samoan, and up the walls. Up the walls? What does up the walls actually mean? Or is that supposed to be up the wires, and maybe it's auto-corrected? Will Super Rugby expand like the NRL will? I think eventually we'll see a few more sides added in. And Chiefs, and if it will be Damien to score, but it's a New Zealand-Aussie comp, says Kiwi Rob, but it's a New Zealand final, Kiwi Rob. This anthem is slow, says Novum. It's a slow ballad of a rendition, to be fair, but it's about to be finished. And Barrett first try, Crusaders to win 27 points to 17. And first try, Tupo Vai, that's a decent shout, to be fair, as he has been very strong throughout the season, breaking the line for fun. But now it's just got serious. Both sides finishing the national anthem of New Zealand. David Arveli smacking his chest like it owes him money. Sean Stevenson getting ready to go for last match for the Chiefs. What's the score? I see it hasn't started yet, so let me just woke up. Says Bruce. Not a test. Better not do the haka, says Shane. And it's Angus Gardner in charge of this one for the refereeing duties. Damon Murphy, Matt Callahan, and Brett Cronin, the man who is the TMO. Ryan is back. Been a while. I do recognise the fish picture, Ryan. So yeah, hopefully you have been keeping well. Win predictor, 54% say the Chiefs, 45% say the Crusaders, and 1% in terms of the odds think that this one's going a golden point. I can already feel my heart going 500 miles an hour. I'm more nervous than excited about this game, says Black Samoan. I think the first 10 minutes will settle a lot of nerves for both of these sides. It's just getting into it, you know. There's been so much anticipation for this final. Is Kiwi Rob is South African? He is not. He's just very angry in general. If you just stopped commenting, Kiwi Rob, we won't misuse this, Andre. I'm from Brisbane, the airport, flying, not a TV site or screening site. Well, hopefully your flight does go well. This game now underway. The Crusaders kicking off from left to right, and a missed line out. Sorry, not a missed line out, but a missed jump there from the Chiefs meant that they did lose possession early, but it is taken straight back by the Chiefs, who have now got the ball after 15 seconds. Wallace at DT for his first carry. He actually averages the most carries per 80 minutes of rugby played. And we have the afternoon, Hamish. What the weather in Christchurch. 4 degrees Celsius, 7 kilometres of wind. Expected to get that little bit colder, but kick downfield from the Chiefs. Will Jordan taking the ball around the halfway line, looking for a gap, links up with Harvili. Was on his outside. Now, off to the left-hand side, Will Jordan, tackled low by Cortez Ratama. It's a good battle here in terms of the halfbacks in this contest. Noah Hotham, a lot of people picking as the third All Blacks half. That's an awkward kick, but well handled by McKenzie, who's flattened by Severis. There's no love lost there. Now counter ruck coming, knock on from Cortez Ratama, and the Crusaders have got the ball back to Mighty Williams. Ball on the outside to Braden Eno, who almost slipped into touch. Has to cut back in there, and Raives Rehana plays half. Tom Christie scored 4 tries so far throughout the season, much more than he was able to get in 2024. Now Blackadder hits it up. David Harvili trying to step. He's gone down on his knees. Being hit by Luke Jacobson, who tried the counter ruck. Now Hotham under pressure from Tupovai. They almost held him up, but the ball is still there for the Crusaders. Leo Willie having to play half across to Tom Christie again. Out of Super Rugby free. Sadly, they don't really have too many free options other than maybe on Prime later on tonight. I think they might have the game too. Blackadder in the breakdown. Tolkiaho trying to rip it away. Good phase play here from the Crusaders, moving up to 9 phases in a row. Hotham looks short side again, which is dangerous with the slippery conditions that these two sides are dealing with. Little bit of greasiness underfoot. Fletcher Null hits it up again. Now Hotham looking to the right-hand side again. Perhaps something that they have noticed in the way that the Chiefs are defending. Loose ball picked up by Severis, who has to run it sideways, tries to bump out of Dyer. And then offloads to Cody Taylor. Knees are down, so they do have to release him again here. Up to 12 phases in a row. They're trying to suck the oxygen out of this Chiefs gas tank. But for now, the Chiefs are sucking the oxygen out of the attack. Will Jordan with a pass on the outside, though, bouncing. Our wide to Macca Springer. Tried to kick him behind. Ball stays in the field of play. McKenzie manages to charge it down. Now all through the hands of Havili, and the first knock on from the Crusaders of the day. 3 minutes of attack. The Satyrs not getting through. And the Chiefs now, Tupovai, telling everyone to settle down as we get the first set piece of the game. It's 36 degrees here in England. Sun is buzzing, says Nick. Geez, that's a warm day. Definitely for the English weather. When is the first bowl? I love cricket, says Zaffo. And also we have got there are better than all the rest, says John Johnson, a bit of Tina Turner by the sounds of it. And Chiefs are going to pawn them. And Chiefs on top, says Penny. And there, but no matter what happens today, I'll still be proud of the Crusaders for their comeback season, says the Black Samoan. Yeah, they're certainly higher on the table than some anticipated after last season. But the thing is, they were never going to be down for long. And I do think that the Chiefs, they will know coming into this game how well they will have to play for the 80 minutes. Their defence has started well. They didn't really budge too much. Burst Scrum has collapsed, and the penalty goes the way of the Chiefs. I mentioned about it before the match. Norris, Dyer, both trying to make a bit of a statement here heading into this contest, because Norris is right on the verge of being the third loose head for the ABs. George Dyer, a man that's hardly been talked about when it comes to All Black selection, but honestly wouldn't be too bad as a tight head prop option. 2 o'clock in US Tornado outside. Footy takes priority. Says Luke will do try and stay safe, of course, or at least as safe as you can. And Summer Solstice, Chiefs Bloom for victory all the way from the UK. Says Mapar for healthy living now. Chiefs managing to retain their line-out. McKenzie going for the kick downfield. Looked like he was a little bit hurried to take that one. And Will Jordan trying to run straight through the middle, but Tupovai making another great tackle. Christie's had a bit of head contact with him by the looks of that. And in fact, I think Tupovai for now may be staying down, so they might have to have a check of what actually happened there. Oh no, he's back up to his feet. Oh, he is going to be able to continue. Noah Hotham around the halfway line. Reves Rayahana now looking for the kick deep into Chiefs territory, but it's taken by McKenzie inside of his 22. There's plenty of time this kick to be able to get it into touch. Crusaders, they'll be about maybe 45 metres out from their line and take the 3, says Glenn, although they were only, they would have been about 85 metres out from the line. So I would have taken an almighty strike from Damien McKenzie. I know he's scored a lot of points this season, but I'm not sure how many he's got from 85 metres out. In fact, no, I do. It's 0. But I'm sure anything within the half, they will certainly consider going for those 3s. It is finals football at the end of the day. But now, Cortez Ratama, possession here for the Chiefs around the halfway line. Dyer. It's it up again. Ratama now looking to roll this one back. This seems interesting from the Chiefs. They're going to go for a kick, but they're 45 metres out from the Crusaders line, which I'm not sure whether or not that's the best kick. Ratama, that's a very well-weighted one to his credit. Was just outside of the Crusaders 22, but the Chiefs now giving up possession. Crusaders looking to work it out from their own 20. Ethan Blackadder hits it up. Looks like now Noah Hotham will go with a kick of his own, or perhaps fire it back into the pocket. Bro is looking professional today. Give this man a job, Sky. Says always be canning, and now nicely taken around the halfway line. Big shot coming in on Hamoni Narawa. And it's knocked on. Just going to bring the chance here on the halfway line. A little bit of push and shove there between Macca Springer and Quinn Tupai. As to be expected, the tensions will be high for this contest. Now just talking about the big hits that have already come in for these two sides. You just wonder whether or not maybe that little bit of pressure is what led to the drop ball. Rob Penny, Crusaders head coach, watching on for this game. Same with Clayton McMillan, calling it mean, bro. Says, Matt, thank you very much. Where it's Fiaki, I believe they decided to just leave him out for this matchup. And I actually don't know the reasoning behind it. I think it's because of having Springer and Reese out on the wings. And then they've also got Dallas McLeod off the bench. So he's probably one of those guys who's just unlucky that the Crusaders have a bit of depth in certain positions. Oh, Scrum's gone down. Another penalty goes the way of the Chiefs. Now, that was a scrum feed for the Crusaders, and Ollie Norris wins another one. That's now 2 in a row up against one of the best tight heads in New Zealand. Okay, second one was against Null for cranking the arm, but, you're in a scenario here. Norris has won 2 penalties back-to-back. If there was ever a time to really make a statement, like I said, 2 days' time is when we are going to see the All Black squad announced. Now, from 50 metres out, the Chiefs have actually opted to go for the corner here. He had knocked last week. Oh, did he take a knock last week? That would make sense then as to why not available. Rob Penny's not happy, as you wouldn't be. Fletcher Null, he's only been penalised twice throughout this whole season at scrum time. He's already been penalised twice in the Super Rugby Pacific final, but the ball in the hands of Samisoni Taukeiaho. The Crusaders try and hold up off the turf, but he does manage to wrestle it down. Now Amoni Narawa pick and go around the side of the breakdown. It's something that the Brumbies fell for multiple times throughout last week. The Crusaders only allowing the 5 metres from it. Ratama, 20 metres out from the line now for the Chiefs. Big shot coming in from Barrett. This is where the Chiefs, this is their best attacking chance of the day. Narawa plays half, goes off to Tupavai. Hard by Taylor and Antonio Shalfoon. Someone down in back play. Now, of course, with the squad being announced soon, we have mentioned it many times, but it's happening on Monday. Anyone who goes down injured in this game, they have a big chance of missing out. I believe it's Summer Penny Fee now who stayed down that little bit longer, but now phase play here for the Chiefs. They are up to 11 phases, and they have done it in quick succession. Nai Toa Akoi, another possible bolter. Now Ratama cross to Quinn Tupaia. I believe he is the second most metres out of any player in Super Rugby Pacific behind Tom Wright. Daniel Rona, short ball goes to Sama Penifee now, so seems like he has recovered from his injury. Taukeiaho, Chiefs not going anywhere at the moment, still 15 metres out from the try line. McKenzie now thought about the wide pass, but instead will try and run it, taken down by Tamaiti Williams. Up to 16 phases in a row now. The Crusaders yet to give away an offside advantage. Normally when they are defending from this close to their line, it hasn't been a mile away throughout the season. Big shot on the ground. I think it was Macca Springer. Yes, it was. Now Ratama looking off to the right-hand side again, goes to Samisoni Taukeiaho, still 10 metres out from the line here for the Chiefs. 20 phases in now. Just seems like neither side are willing to budge. It's a chess match, and who's going to call the checkmate? Ollie Norris, 10 metres still from the try line for the Chiefs. It looks like they are getting very close to considering a big switch of going out wide, using their backs rather than just the forwards. Taukeiaho tackled again by the Crusaders. Pick and go from Tupavai up to 24 in a row. Quintupaya plays half, goes off to the right. Now they shift it. McKenzie trying to sneak through, but he's knocked it on. And now the Crusaders with Reves Reihana pops it back to Macca Springer. That will end the penalty advantage, and it's a decent kick downfield there. In fact, it's a very good one, but it doesn't find touch. Sean Stevenson now on the halfway line. This is where the Chiefs can be dangerous. Counter-attack and play, but Havili has managed to shut it down. Chiefs now attacking from 30 metres out from the line with the carry from Ollie Norris. Now Ratama back across. McKenzie goes to Tupavai, tackled low by Barrett. Back off to the right-hand side with Taukeiaho. 11 minutes into this match, neither side able to score any points, and this has to be wearing out the Crusaders. I mentioned they have made the most tackles per game. Oh, Havili's just taken a really ugly head knock. May have lost his 2 front teeth. He looks rattled at the moment, Havili, and there is an advantage for the high shot. McKenzie trying to make the most of it and sneak through. Now pick and go from Amoni Narawa, knocked on by Finau down the wing. They'll go back. Oh, in fact, they're going back for a not rolling away penalty. I wonder whether or not this one will be checked. Oh, there's the double blow of the whistle. And they're going to have a check of this one. How was your prediction for this game? I went 25-20. Right, they're going to show head-on-head contact. That is against David Havili. Now, it was pretty obvious that it was at least on one person's head because Havili did not enjoy that knock to the face. This is a final. I hope not taking the 3 points or not taking the 3 points will bite the Chiefs. And we see here Moni Narawa It's head on here from David Havili. There's a bit of a dip, but I think that's going to be maybe a yellow card. I see both players have dipped, but then Havili, it was a slow motion smooch from that angle. He's upright. It could be lower. Havili, yellow card now for the Crusaders. Crowd booing it. I don't think that there could have been anything less than a yellow, though. In fact, they'll be booing in 10 minutes' time if it is upgraded, but it's probably reasonable at the same time. The Chiefs, they have got the man advantage, and they've got an easy kick at the post if they want it. And we have got there what to what. Says Joshua there. What is the decision from this Chiefs side? I've said it's kickable for Damian McKenzie. It's 40 metres out. The leading point scorer. Oh, they're kicking for the corner again here, the Chiefs. Is this the right decision? Because, don't get me wrong, finals rugby, you want as many points as physically possible, but the Chiefs have turned down 2 kickable threes at the moment, so they could be on 6 points, and there's no denying they have a chance of being able to score this try here. But you just wonder, up against a side like the Crusaders, do you need to go for that 3 instead? And come on, Penny says Zaffo. And yellow card for the Crusaders. Send the punk-ass Crusader off. Says Benny there, and the Crusaders says Joseph about a line-out throw for Samasoni Tolkiaho. Straight into Wallace Atiti, and now the rolling maul of the Chiefs will begin there. 15 metres out. Antonio Shelfoon having a conversation there with the ref, trying to say, let them use it. Tolkiaho being held in there. Ratima, they're still waiting. They have to make sure that they don't take too long here, or else Shelfoon will have a bit of a crack at that ball. Ratima goes off to the left-hand side. Tupaia runs it flat. And Reves Rayhana pick and go from Amoni Narua. I'm not too sure whether the Crusaders were completely onside there. Big run from Ollie Norris, but just short of the line again. Quinn Tupaia tries to reach out, but couldn't quite get his arm out from underneath him. Short ball to Dyer, and between the sticks, the Chiefs have struck early. And it's the big tight head prop. Tell you what, the front row for the Chiefs are having a blinder at the moment. Ollie Norris winning 2 penalties for his side. George Dyer crossing the try line, and Tolkiaho, plenty of carries for that man throughout the match thus far. And we have got there, yellow is harsh, given the rules David started with in the 1980s, or the 1800s, says you're rough. A great finish there from George Dyer. And it's just a breakthrough. Macca, Springer. It was just quick phases, one after the other there from the Chiefs. And the Crusaders' defence had to eventually budge. Now, Damian McKenzie straight out in front of the post does get the kick over. And that is now going to make the score 7-0 for the away side. McKenzie adding a couple more points to his tally. George Dyer, I don't think he scored a huge amount of tries this season, if we're being honest. Of course, when you are in that front row, you aren't really expected to. But for Dyer, so far this year, he has scored 0 tries. So his first try coming in the final. Okay, I think there was just confirmation from the referee in terms of who are the captains. I think Will Jordan was just saying anything for the breakdown. You've got Cody Taylor and Scott Barrett. If you're looking at anything backline-wise, give me a buzz. Now 30 metres out from their own line here. The Chiefs with the lead and another 7 minutes remaining of the yellow card, which will remain as a yellow. They have had confirmation there. Oh, little bit of a slip there from Cortez Ratima. It's the kick down towards the halfway line. Nice take from Will Jordan, who's almost cut in half by Ollie Norris, who once again is making quite the statement. And there is a knock on by the sounds of it. Which is going to lead to a scrum feed now. So is that Crusaders, or classed as a dire result for the Crusaders? As in the yellow card or the early try? Because I did think the Chiefs were going to strike first, although I did go with Amoni Narawa, I think was my first prediction. Are we over there? Chiefs keep going, and who tries? So the first try was scored by George Dyer, a man who I don't think many people would have been anticipating to score. He was probably paying $61 to score first in this matchup. And Chiefs got the first try, says Benny. They certainly did. Your prediction 25-20 in favour of who? One of the two sides, I'd say. I haven't really picked, to be honest, just 5 points difference. I would say, like, the Chiefs, it would be a nice scoreline, seeing as that is what they lost by in the Super Rugby Aotearoa final, but just never know. Scrum feed this time actually for the Crusaders here on the halfway line. Told to stay high, they went down straight away, and this time Fletcher Null does manage to win that penalty back. Oh no, in fact, it might have been to Mikey Williams who managed to drop George Dino. Now they're showing Norris, so they showed about all four of the props in that situation. And yes, the Chiefs all calling for the shot here, the Crusaders. So, of course, with one less man on the field, they're playing a little bit of the strategic clock work. Here's someone yell, go home, Crusaders. Says Benny. And Chiefs deserve the win, says Nodos. And Chiefs all the way, says Tony Hall. And Dyers try even, says Jason. And then as well, but an important kick here for Cortez Ratima. I've mentioned that it is heavy. Underfoot, heavy in the air as well. 4 degrees Celsius, 7 kilometres of wind. So the wind shouldn't affect it too much. Good morning, Amish, says Patrick. Welcome in. And we have there, Chiefs will win 20 points to 18. I do like your thinking in terms of how close it is. Now, Reves Rehana, definitely not the easiest kick in this matchup. Come on, Hamish, you must have a favourite side. Honestly, I don't. We've done so many streams on the channel where we've had to be impartial that I just don't favour teams now. Like, I have who I think might win, but I don't have a team that I prefer over the other. That kick's going to miss away to the side for Reves Rehana. Not only the accuracy was off, the distance was too. Didn't quite have enough legs. That's where they needed someone like a Fiaki, but of course, not there for this game. And can you show the game, please? Sadly, not due to licensing. Any match footage or audio gets you taken straight off YouTube, banned for 3 months and potentially sued. But I can recommend, there's the option of Stan Sport, Sky Sport Now, or Sky Sport in general, Flow Rugby, DSTV, for a few different ways of watching it around the world. Reves Rehana now. Line out here for the Crusaders was successful. They have still got the most accurate line out in the whole competition with 88.6. Reves Rehana short ball to Cody Taylor. Ratima trying to get that ball, but was on the man rather than the possession. Now Scott Barrett, big run at Ollie Norris, who was almost able to strip it out of his hands up the Blues. You have been to a Crusaders game, so you are seriously saying you don't have a favourite team? Yes. Fun fact, they're the closest location, so it made sense to go to that game. Plus, they were playing the Highlanders, so the two South Island teams. So, no harm in that. Damien McKenzie now trying to make his way through. And that is a big shot in the penalty. Going the way of the Chiefs. Yep, AB's team named Monday. They certainly are. I believe we are going to be doing a live stream for that one. Looks suspiciously like a Blues tie, Hamish, says Jason. Could be. Dangerous tackle, though. Oh, this one's getting taken upstairs as well here. And this might be against Christian Leo Willie. The last thing that the Crusaders want is another man in the bin. We're going to see it. So Blackadder's making the tackle. Leo Willie. That's at the shoulder. There is no head contact there on McKenzie. Okay, the TMO was saying, I don't know if there's any head contact. Angus Gardner's saying, no, there's not. So we're just going to get on with it. Wait, so it's shoulder on shoulder, and they've said it's now still a high tackle penalty, but it's got to be no arms, I would assume, the penalty, rather than a high tackle, I would say. Well, Jordan better on the wing than fullback. In fact, no, even from that angle, there was a bit of a wrap, so that is a big call for the penalty. Looked much worse than it was, I think, was the case. And we have good there. We don't mind if you favour the Chiefs, Hamish. We're all for it. Says Nodos. Now kick downfield from the Chiefs. Big shot on McKenzie coming in. Will Jordan takes it inside of his 22. He did call the mark. And they will now have a chance to slow this one down a little bit. 2 minutes 15 remaining of the David Harvili yellow card. Go the Chiefs, use Damien. He will do the tries and go the Crusaders, says Kathy Swan. Taken by Sean Stevenson, goes across to McKenzie again, 40 metres out from his line. A man who has not touched the ball as of yet in this game on attack. Leroy Carter. What is his first touch, I should say, going to bring to this game? Slapped back by Daniel Rona, then knocked on by Narawa. They will go back or the scrum feed to the Crusaders. Do you do live commentary for State of Origin? We didn't do the first 2 games. I was considering, but I think with it being a decider now, we will end up doing the 3rd match on the channel. As honestly, that second one was a very entertaining game. And so was the first, to be fair, even though it was just a bit more one-sided than some would have liked. A Chiefs referee looks like says Alan, a terrible opinion, or option from DMAC. Says hopes, but we are just seeing their tackle completion 91% for the Crusaders throughout this match. They've made 64, they've missed the 6. And the Chiefs are sitting with the 90% tackle completion throughout this game. And we have their moo, says Tom. And hello, Mr. Hamish, says Doc, welcome in. My prediction is 57-12 in favour of the Chiefs. So you're going really high scoring. We're currently 20 minutes through in this contest, and we have only had the 1 try. There is no point doing the decider. So you're saying in a 3-match series where it's 1-1, they shouldn't play a 3rd match, Kiwi Rob. That's got to be one of the stupidest things you've ever said. And you've said a lot of stupid stuff throughout our time. In fact, you couldn't even write a book of all the stupid comments. But it's going to be the penalty going the way of the Crusaders now around the halfway line. Another chance to line up the 3, although I think this is a bit too far out for the accuracy of Reves Rehan, or at least the distance. And Chiefs 25-15, says Patrick. And it's 40 to the Chiefs, 0 to the Crusaders, says Benny. And it looks like actually Dallas McLeod, he's going to be the man to make his way back onto the field for David Havili. And the reasoning behind that, I believe, is Havili took that knock to the head when he did make a tackle with his head. We have got there, Will Jordan has had a bad season today. Wait, so bad day today or bad season? Because bad season is far from what Will Jordan has had. He's been a game changer for the Crusaders. Certainly was in the game up against the Blues last week. And also has had some phenomenal stats throughout this one. And we have got there, come on, Chiefs, says Georgina. So many stupid comments that you could write a book more like it. I think it would be a very long book. It would be a novel for sure. But off to the left-hand side here, chance for Cody Taylor. Around 25 metres out from the line. And I should mention, of course, with McLeod out there, it means that the Crusaders back to their full contingency of 15. Noah Hotham back across to the right-hand side. Ethan Blackadder trying to go through, but great defence from Quinn Tapai, who got up early. Managed to make the tackle. And McLeod can more metres in 1 run than Havili all season, says Scrotimus. That would be a very long run. Hotham with a bit of a snipe round the side of the breakdown. Can be extremely dangerous. Now back across to the left-hand side. Com Christie. I'm looking forward to Dallas McLeod's first run. He has to make 603 metres from the first carry, so we have to run back and forth a few times. Oh, nice snipe from Noah Hotham. Almost snuck through. Now Severis. Skip pass out to Will Jordan. Leroy Carter tackles him. Naitoa Koi trying to get the steal in the breakdown. But good defence from both of these sides throughout the first 23 minutes. Question is, how long will this Chiefs defence hold on? They have missed the least amount of tackles out of any side throughout the Super Rugby Pacific competition on average per game. Hotham back across to the right-hand side. 12 phases in. Crusaders still around 30 metres out. Tom Christie, big shot from Tupove, tackling him around the bootlaces. Noah Hotham back across to Barrett. 2-man tackle in by Jacobson and Norris. Now shifting this one. Oh, Reves Rayana wasn't ready for it. Kicked forward by the Chiefs, but Severis has pure pace and gets back to cover McKenzie. Trying to hustle, but misses the tackle there. Now Reese slipping over, pops it up to Antonio Shalfoon, who is then tackled low by Tolkiaho. Back and forth in the Super Rugby final. Blackadder, but isolated. Naitoa Koi has a crack at the ball. Now Rayhana slowing it down. Thought about the 50-22, but McKenzie is back to cover. Lets a roll to 5 metres out from his own line. Losing quite a bit of ground there, McKenzie, and a poor kick in the exit. Means that now the Crusaders have got quite the territory gain. Go the Satyrs, says Kathy. And we have got there Havili actually making his way back out onto the field now, as he has passed the HIA. And we have got the All Blacks going into camp next week too, says Daniel. They certainly do. On Monday, midday, they are going to be announcing the side. We will be more than likely doing a live stream on the channel. DMAC allowing a net game for the Crusaders. Yeah, the fact that he just let that ball continue rolling. I think there was half a chance he wanted it to go into the in-goal area, force it down goal line dropout, but unfortunately was only 5 metres out from his own line, and now the Chiefs, they have to defend from 25 metres out from there. Scott Barrett asking for the high shot from Ngaitai Akoi in the breakdown, or in the rolling maul. Satiti told to get out of there, breaking down the short side. Cody Taylor with some wheels, and the Crusaders have got their first try of the final, countering with the Cody Taylor short side run, something that we have really seen throughout this season, but they decided to throw something different. It's a risk, definitely, with how slippery it is, but Cody Taylor scores his try, and they are now back in it. Are the cowbells ringing? I've heard a few cowbells so far throughout this contest. Cody is quick for a hooker, says Tanner. He loves being in that wide channel, and there's just that gap that Cody Taylor was able to run through over the about 20 metres. I think that Ratama wasn't really gaining on him. Wallace Satiti knew he wasn't winning that foot race. Cody Taylor, I should say, rather than Cody Sader, has got the try for the Crusaders there. Cody the man still rolling, and oh, come on, Chiefs. I hope the forwards win this game. When's the last time that happened with this competition for the win? Says Dov Freely. I mean, we've seen some close finals, to be fair. And I do think that if it isn't down to the forwards winning this game, the forwards have certainly helped win, or at least get these two sides to where they are. I mean, we've seen some brilliant work from both sides, loose forward trios. We're seeing the props really showing up for this game. Great kick from the sideline from Braves Reihana. Does manage to get that one over, and that now makes the score 7 points each for these two sides. We have the man legend. What's the conditions like there? So it is 4 degrees Celsius, or at least it was before the match. I'd assume that it's dropped maybe to 3 or so now, and not a lot of wind, about 7 kilometres. Bumino Simon Parker, baby's name Monday, I think he's still injured. Sadly, I think he has got a little bit of a longer term injury than I thought, which means he may end up missing out, sadly, just with a poor timed injury. Bit similar to what we saw for Xavier Numia last year, how he got injured at just the wrong time, or else could have had a really good shot of making it in Ngaitai Akoi with a flat ball. Now Ratama back across to the right-hand side. McKenzie goes to George Dyer, tackled by David Havili. Made his way back out onto the field after passing his HIA and also spending 10 minutes in the bin. The Chiefs 40 metres out from the line. That was a little bit too late when it came to the shot. I know that they're trying to make McKenzie uncomfortable. A little bit similar to what we saw in that game. Oh, nice steal from David Havili. Bit of shoulder on shoulder between Williams and Dyer, but it bounces back to David Havili, who's looking for the 50-22, or at least a little bit of territory. Awkward bouncing ball for Leroy Carter, who does very well to be able to clean it up. Havili trying to tackle with his head again. And the penalty, though, goes the way of the Crusaders. A big steal in the breakdown. Whoever that forward was covered a huge amount of ground. However, there go the Crusaders. He's Kathy. So all have shrinkage, and we'll use the fuel of insecurity. Says Stock Friendly NZ. But the penalty going the way of the Crusaders now, and they will take on the 3 points at the posts. We're going to see it here, though. Leroy Carter does well. Maybe taking Leroy Carter out on the ground. Big shot on Havili, and it was Braden Enor who was able to get in there. Massive work from the 3 backs for the Crusaders and send D-Mac off. And the best team will win on the day. They are both great teams and give 100%, says Francis. And go the winners, says Michael. And there as well by Reves Reihana. Important kick here for the youngster. 21 metres out. His success is sitting at 50% at the moment, but one of those 2 kicks that he did miss was from over 50 metres away. And this one does go straight down the middle. 10 points to 7 now in favour of the locals. And we have got there, come on the Chiefs. Let's get these honkies, says Sonny. And is the field that slippery? Because a lot of people are slipping. It is a very slippery field. And it's one of those ones that the grass is actually quite long, but unless you've got some good sprigs, you don't really dig in too much. It's quite a hard turf. Oh, Tapia managing to slap it back onto the side of the Chiefs, but then the knock-on coming from the Chiefs there too. Looking sharp, Hamish says FWTG. Thank you very much. A nice tie. Good to see a Kiwi try to be presentable for a big occasion, says Paul. And let's go Sader, says Abe there, and go the guy pushes the button that lights the flames. says Jason. Yeah, it is a very important job. Can't be underestimated. Has to get the timing right. Is it a wet game? Not raining, but just slippery underfoot due to the dew. That's the end of the match. We have still got another 50 minutes in this contest, and the Chiefs, they have made it to this final for a reason. They are just showing there. All that squad announcement taking place at 12 p.m. on Monday. And it's going to be the Coastal Rugby Club in Taranaki. We will be doing some sort of stream and maybe video as well, based around that. And go the Crusaders, says Sierra. Another time that the ball has not quite come out of the scrum as cleanly as they would have liked. Both front rows going down, but no advantage is given this time. Reves Reihana, wide cut out pass goes to Sever Reese. It was definitely close to flat. And Reese kicks it downfield into the 22. Awkward bouncing ball, but Sean Stevenson does well. Now, well taken by Reves Reihana, who slides forward on his knees, lined up by Norris and Stevenson, who try to drive him over the sideline. Now Hotham. Across to Ethan Blackadder. It's been some really solid phases all throughout this game from both sides. As in a rugby game, only 30 minutes. Maybe in a game of sevens, but even that's kind of 2 games. To be fair, that's going to be kicked downfield just outside of the 22. Another well-weighted one, but not really chased too hard from the Crusaders. It was Will Jordan who got there first. And Crusaders all the way, says Willem. And show the match, says Villau. The first show the match of the day. Sadly, we can't due to licensing. Any match footage or audio gets us taken straight off YouTube, possibly banned and also possibly sued. But Super Rugby, Stan Sport, DSTV, and Flow Rugby, your options for being able to watch it. You can tell I've had to do that 10,000 times, can't you? Cortez Ratama kicking it downfield now. Nice take from Reves Reihana around the halfway line. Tackled low by Satiti into the breakdown. Leroy Carter can't quite get the steal again. Antonio Shalthurn bounce past David Harvilli. Awkward swirling ball there and dropped by Stevenson at the back, which now gives the Crusaders another scrum opportunity 30 metres out from the opposition line. And we have got the any lead the Crusaders have is hard to overcome. And also we have got their 27-23 Chiefs all the way, and Chiefs not looking good season. They haven't looked bad though. Like their defence overall has been solid. Hamish has no pants under that fancy shirt and tie. That's not necessarily true, but I have got just like sweatpants on. So, haven't quite dressed up the bottom half as well. We have good there. You should have a meme for all the show, the match people that join. Says Yoraf. And big ups to the person who squeezes the sauce bottle on the hot dogs. It's an important job too. And they do have it a little bit different at Orange Theory Stadium. They kind of have the food sitting out or sitting out there, and you just kind of grab it and then take it up to the counter as you go through. Nice watching as a neutral. Just want a good game, says Patrick. Now ready for the scrum. 25 metres out from the line here for the Crusaders. Actually a little bit closer to the line than I thought. Massive scrum there, but no advantage. Well done from Dye and Norris to stay down. Macca Spring, a little kick him behind once again. Wasn't the right choice. That's twice now that Spring has attempted that. And twice that the Chiefs have been able to cover it. Is it a wet game? Only due to the dew. And the slipperiness underfoot. Like, there's no rain around, though. Yeah, Macca Springer knew straight away he was not winning that foot race. And go Canterbury, says Gaffy. And pants off, dance off, says Cepho there. Now, goal line dropout here for the Chiefs. So another 6.5 minutes remaining of this match up for the first half anyway. And still that second 40 where I feel like we are going to see both sides start to tie. Nice run from Christian Leo Willie before being tackled low by Wallace Satiti. Now Braden Enor. I'll make his way through. Oh, ball stolen on the ground, but in an illegal manner there. The hand was down, and it is another penalty going the way of the Crusaders. That one was player leaving feet against Naitoa Akoi. We have got there's their catch the KFC man. Maybe. I know that they didn't have it for the semi. Oh, did they have it for the semi actually? But they didn't have it for the regular season. A couple of games they didn't seem to have the catch kernel. Not taking the 3-pointers by Chiefs makes sense though. 3-pointers are useless against the Crusaders in Christchurch, and you do two people's jobs. I love to see you have a partner. Says Dog Friendly NZ, and you're a good sport, Amish, says Zaffo. But 5 penalties going against the Chiefs at this point in time. 4 against the Crusaders. Reves Reihana. And they'll line up yet again another kick. And this is interesting, the fact that the Crusaders are willing to take the 3-pointers. I know that people have talked about the Chiefs not taking their opportunities. They could have had an extra maybe 6 points. But also it did lead to their first try of the day. So I feel like if anything, they gained an extra 1 point from taking the risk. Whereas the Crusaders, they are just smartly racking up scoreboard pressure. Now a 6-point lead. One more penalty against the Chiefs at some point. All of a sudden you lead by more than a converted try. Reves Rayana, with the exception of that first kick that he did miss from over 50 out, he's been spot on. How do I become a part of the Kiwi Lads team? Where do I send my resume, says Zai? Well, we haven't actually really got a huge team per se. It's mainly just myself with the other guys coming on. I'd say flick us a message on Instagram, though, because we are going to be doing a few videos that do maybe include some of you guys in the future. One moment, I'm trying to remember what our Instagram handle is. Be sure to flick us a message on there. Might be able to work something out. We have got there, stop knocking on the ball, learn how to catch. Says Knife there. And field possession playing at the wrong end to get squeezed. And Leinster basically is an all-island team. Are they very good? Says Foosball there. And Chiefs is contained. Let's go the Crusaders. Yeah, both sides defending brilliantly throughout this one. And the Chiefs now another opportunity. 15 metres out from the line with 4 minutes remaining of the half. This is when they really need to make a statement. Nice take from Summer Penny Fee now. I got to send a big thanks for you for this. It's near impossible to get decent coverage without paying in the UK, says John Jones. Well, we do appreciate you being here. We are going to be here for the internationals all throughout July. Rugby Championship as well. Now short side. Chance here for the Chiefs. 10 metres from the line. Ratama goes back across to the right this time. They've been quite narrow in their attack, but every once in a while they consider shifting, and it looks like now might be the time. In fact, they're going to go for the switch instead. Shifted right first, then went left. Leroy Carter. I still think that now is the first touch that he has had of possession on attack throughout this game, and it's taken 37 minutes. We're talking about a guy who has 9 tries throughout this season, but he hasn't really had too many chances here. Now Ratama again with the pick and go. Oh, Wallace Atiti having to avoid ending up in the wrong place, wrong time there, Samoan. This will be an epic game, and Pumas really boss lines up the Southern Hemisphere. Can't wait for the All Blacks team announcement, says David. Should be an awesome one. We'll have to see what way Scott Robertson's mind is going. Whether or not this game has had too much of an impact. Cortez Ratama across to Wallace. Satiti again. Back across to the right. McKenzie passes out to Sean Stevenson. Low tackle on him by Noah Hotham. And Lions versus Pumas. It was an error-ridden, sloppy game, says Ruts, which was expected, let's be honest. These two sides, or those two sides, I should say, were together for the first time in quite some time. In the Argentinian sake. Oh, pick and go from Narawa. 1 metre out from the line here for the Chiefs. Can they cross it just before halftime? Wide cut-out pass from Tupavai. And Sean Stevenson outwise scores, or does he? They're just going to check this one. Springer will score before halftime. He may have just conceded a try down his wing. And watching from South Africa, it doesn't matter who wins. I just love All Blacks rugby, says Elroy. Right, on-field decision is try. Oh, no. Okay, they aren't actually checking the grounding here. They're checking a clean out from one of the Chiefs players. Now, that seems like an interesting choice. Right, on-field is try, though. No grounding issues for Sean Stevenson, but what breakdown are we checking here? Right, it's going to be Tupavai. Oh, is it that? That can't be it, can it? Unless... So what they're trying to say is Scott Barrett got cleaned out by Vai in the breakdown, which then left the gap for Amoni Narawa. But the thing is, Scott Barrett's hands were down on that breakdown, which then makes him a part of the ruck, in which case you are allowed to clean that man out. So I feel like that would be one of those decisions that, you know, I don't see anything wrong with that one. I think it's going to be play on and should be a try. The crowd are booing. I don't know what they're booing for. But he's taken him out over the ruck. Okay, it's not a clean-out pass. This try will stand. Like they have said, he is entitled to go for that clean-out, which he has. Wait, are we still getting confirmation? Surely that's just a try. And a nice easy one to be able to call, is it not? They're still waiting for the TMO. He's gone for a break by the sounds of it. And did he fall on his knee? No, so Scott Barrett had his hands looking for a turnover, let go, and then got cleaned out by Tupavai in the ruck. And then because Narua went with the pick and go round the side, I'm sorry, but this can't be anything but a try, can it? It's a legal clean out. The crowd the Crusaders fans didn't have their ears on. They thought that Angus Gardner said, for me, they thought he said, it's an illegal clean out. So they all went, woohoo. But really he said, it's a legal clean out. And then when he said it's still a try, they all booed. But it is going to be the try for the Chiefs. McKenzie from the sideline misses. And that's going to make the score now 13 points to 12 with 2 minutes remaining in this half. Yeah, Sean Stevenson just dipping his head down. Funny how you started that. You asked, is that it? And we can't see, says John Jones. And shut up, Crusaders fans, says David the Mod. And go on, ref, not about you. And yes, let's go. Yeah, it was the right decision in the end. Oh, it's going to be a drop ball from Quinn Tupai, a rare error from that man. And it does now give the Chiefs a little bit more defensive work to do before the halftime break. Just 110, in fact, less than that, about 70 seconds remaining of this first half. Will Jordan going off to the left-hand side. They do have the knock-on advantage to go back on if worse comes to worse. Braden Enor running it hard at Wallace. A TT tackled by Dyer. It's not a legal clean-out. It is, because his hands were in the breakdown first for Scott Barrett. I like the fact that even though you said that you didn't really care who won this, Kiwi Rob, you seem to be very passionate about the Chiefs winning. That one's going to go close. Oh, McKenzie's done the fly kick. He had open space. He's smiling about it now, but if he had connected with that, that could have been a very handy opportunity for the Chiefs. But the rush defense from Tupaia putting pressure. And then Leroy Carter got it downfield and McKenzie just misses it. The only man running back from that angle was Tom Christie. And come on, Crusaders, says Jacques there. And now, Cody Taylor throwing it in. Yet again, another successful line out for the Crusaders. 40 metres out from their line. This might be the last touch of the half. Just 5 seconds left. What's Noah Hotham's plan? We're about to hear the siren. That ball's going to be stuck in there. Looks like no one's really in a hurry to move it. Hotham, though, he will. Oh, box kick attempted here. They've decided that they want one last crack. Nice take from Leroy Carter. Close to the sideline. Offloads inwards and Dyer goes out. So now it's going to be half-time in this contest. But 13 points to 12. Oh, a little bit of push and shove in the middle of the field. Guys, it's half-time, says Angus Gardner. He is not happy with the pushing and shoving that's happening. And we have got there, why couldn't McKenzie kick like that last week? Says Xavier. Will Jordan can't step. Says Knive. I mean, we've probably seen throughout this season that he's proven that he can. We just quickly look at Will Jordan's numbers. Throughout this season, he's had 37 defenders beaten. Some have come from the step. 14 clean breaks as well, which would have come from having to step into a different direction. And Jordan can step, says Pete. And show us these points, Blue, or Chiefs, says Noros there as well. But very close at the moment between these two sides. Maybe a little bit of tensions as we get towards the end of this contest. But 13-12. The one try coming for the Crusaders of Cody Taylor taking the 2 other threes. Whereas for the Chiefs, they have been able to get themselves 2 tries. Sean Stevenson as well as George Dyer did score in the 13th minute. And let's go the Crusaders. Both teams throwing handbags and let's go Crusaders, says Jeff. And there as well, but a quick first half. Really did fly by. Now looking at a few of the stats. 2 tries to 1, like I mentioned. 53% possession in favour of the Chiefs for that first half. Kiwi Rob has multiple personalities, says Jason. It's strange not hearing the cowbells, says Henny. Although I think some people still have got the app on their phone with the Bluetooth speakers in there. But I also think that they have turned down the crowd noise just a little bit. The Dode knows how To look at stats, reads and responds to comments, and does two people's job as a rugby commentator. Says Dog Friendly NZ. And the street's rising on him. Says Guybrush there. But clean breaks, just the one throughout this game. 1 for the Crusaders. Defenders beaten, 8 for the Crusaders, 7 from the Chiefs. Meters gained extremely even, only their 8 meters separating it with 110 and 118 there for the Chiefs. Passes pretty even. Honestly, there's not a lot splitting these two sides. Defensively, they've had to work hard. 86 tackles for the Chiefs, 102 made for the Crusaders, and they have only missed the 7 tackles of those 102, which does mean they're tackling at over 90% for this final thus far. Same with the Chiefs. Tackling it just over the 90 as well. We got the donation from David the Mod. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciate it. You didn't put a message, but it is greatly appreciated, of course. I know that you'll be going for the Chiefs in this contest, and they have started this match pretty well. They just need one more big try, I would say, get them in the right direction. Looks like the referee is winning this game for the Crusaders, says Tama. I would disagree. I think he's actually been not too bad throughout this matchup. Looking at the discipline numbers, both sides, according to this stat, although I think that's a little bit old, but it says both sides have conceded 4 penalties. I think it might be 5 and 5 or maybe 5-6 now in terms of those numbers, but if he was trying to give the Crusaders the win, he wouldn't have awarded that last try that we saw for the Chiefs. They would have found a way of being able to cancel it out. A morning bro from Cardiff, says Andrew Neal. And we have got the Crusaders. You can win this game. Hello, Hamish, Canes fan here. Want Chiefs to win. Says Darren and Quintapai having a blinder. Yeah, he's really stepped up in their number 12 jersey and shown exactly why he should be in that All Blacks team. Being announced on Monday. Few bolters. So I guess the big question, ladies and gents, for anyone who is watching this game, who are the guys at the moment that you feel have played themselves into an All Blacks kit? And who are the guys that you feel have not quite done enough to make the All Blacks? Now, I've seen you commentate non-New Zealand teams and the passion is still there. Says Dog Friendly NZ. Yeah, I mean, we cover rugby from all around the world. It's going to be the same next week. We are going to be covering the South Africans taking on the Barbarians. We have got the Māori All Blacks going up against the Japan XV. Alongside that next week, I mean, there is a random game taking place between Namibia and Italy, I think it is, that I would like to cover, but I don't know whether or not they'll show it here in New Zealand. Next week also, Force taking on the British and Irish Lions. Crusaders $1.85, Chiefs $1.85. Latest odds, so yeah, very close for these two sides, and honestly could still go either way. Carter, is that the guy that you're saying did play himself in or didn't play himself in? Because he has really not touched the ball much throughout this one, unfortunately. And go on, people, smash the like button, and great to see two great Australian teams. Says Heartful of Heart and Satyrs got this, says Obi. And Narawa should be a bolter for the ABs. Absolutely, I think. The plan is to do a video probably tomorrow, I'd like to say. And that will be 5 guys that I feel have to make the All Blacks in terms of the bolters. But yeah, I think that Narawa, at the moment, the way that he's playing, he's got to be one of those guys. And the spot you've been snorting coke, bro, your nose pretty red. No, it's just hay fever, unfortunately. The other one would be a lot more fun, of course, but no, just sneezing a lot throughout the last couple of days. Luckily, haven't done one on this live stream, though. So that's a bonus. I feel sorry for Caleb Clark. Hope he has taken notes from Leroy Carter. Says Given. And also, Duplessis Karefi deserves to be in the All Blacks, says Darren. You're doing well, Chiefs, 2 or 3 tries, and you have one. And that was a great tackle by Tupai. Yeah, just forced the initial error. I assume that's the one that you're talking about on Will Jordan. That kind of shut him down a little bit. Will Scott Robinson make the All Blacks? He will be making the team. He won't make it himself, though. Carter had a quiet first half. He did hardly touch the ball, Leroy Carter, unfortunately. Namibia versus Italy, says Kiwi Rob. And there too. But in terms of Leroy Carter's numbers, he's had 3 passes, 4 tackles. He hasn't missed a tackle so far. 15 metres gained and 1 kick. That's all he's had throughout this first half. In comparison to Amoni Narawa's stats, I don't think are correct either. They say he's only made 13 metres. He's made 13 off 1 run at one point in that first half. And Japan XV versus Māori All Blacks. An All Blacks team going to have experience and newbies who deserve to be selected. Our halfback's going to be a headache, says Jeff. Who's doing the run to win the KFC? Always the Cuzzies that do it hard. I don't know if they've got Catch the Colonel. At the moment, we've still got highlights from the first half. So maybe they've decided against it. I know that sometimes for the home games for the Crusaders, they have like a Chemist Warehouse fundraiser thing that they do instead. So perhaps it's one week they do the Catch the Colonel, the other week they do the Chemist Warehouse one. I Don't Make Me Hungry says, dog friendly. And Kiwi Lad, do you watch League? I do watch a little bit. I haven't been able to watch anywhere near as much NRL as I wanted to watch throughout this season. But yeah, State of Origin's looking like it's setting up for a great third match taking place. Just made my day, mate. Like your show. Thanks for broadcasting live, says Dama. No worries at all. And we are going to be here each and every week. So be sure to pop in. We'll also be doing that All Blacks announcement, Fish and Chips. That is a highlight. Says Zaffo there. What are you surprised, or why are you surprised by Cody Taylor's try? Because if we're being honest, we all know he's capable of doing that. We know he's capable of doing that, but he hasn't actually done it that much throughout the season, only scoring the 3 tries leading into this final. He's had 328 carry meters throughout that time, and, you know, he's beaten a fair few defenders, I believe. So, you know, it's expected that he, every once in a while, will be able to get one right, but it was the style of play in terms of how he scored it, going down the short side, a tactic that we haven't really seen the Crusaders use a lot at line-out time, but with the most successful line-out in the competition with, I think it's 86.8, it makes sense as to why they could try and throw a few curveballs in the opposition. We got the donation from Jimbo. Thank you very much, mate. Hi, Hamish. What are the conditions like in Christchurch? It's down to about 1 degrees now in terms of temperature. Not a lot of wind, but there is a bit of slipperiness as expected for an evening game here in New Zealand. Can you clarify the penalty against Carter? Or was that a tackle by Sevu? Or was he just going for the ball? If it was a tackle, it was grass cutter with no arms, says Dark. It was an interesting one, and I did mention at the time that it looked a little bit interesting. I think Reece realised that he wasn't going to get there, but also at the same time with how slippery it was, I don't think he had a way of pulling out, so that's where the benefit of the doubt probably went to him. But yeah, there weren't a lot of arms involved. It was pretty much just a sliding through underneath Leroy Carter. But yeah, great steal from Braden Enor in that breakdown afterwards, so to be able to be there and ready to get the steal. You're actually so good at commentating, so it's friendly NZ. Thank you very much. Do greatly appreciate it. And we have got the random question. Are you doing the Force versus British and Irish Lions game? We certainly are. I don't think it overlaps with... Oh. No, it actually does overlap. That is a massive shame. It overlaps with the Japan XV versus New Zealand Māori match. Who did that scheduling? That seems a bit rough. Definitely because there's so many other windows that the two sides could have played. So now I guess I'm not too sure if we're going to be doing that one. We have there, Ollie Norris might be a bowler. I think after the way that he won those first 2 penalties up against North, yes, he's conceded 1 or 2 since then, but I have him in there. I think that he's well and truly worth a crack. Up the Chiefs, says Merrily. Game final experience. And have they really still not made a decision? Says Crystal, and don't forget the bro. Or bro, don't forget the game, bro. Have another line, says Jody. But yeah, second half getting very close to starting up, ladies and gents. How long before halftime is over? Only another, probably, I'd say 3 minutes until we're back in for the second half of rugby to beat the Box. We've got to play Mackenzie as fly hard. Bowden can come from the bench. Jordan fullback. And we've got this sorted. Chiefs Clark, or centres Clark and Rico. Says Jeff. Oh, so you're playing Caleb Clark as a 12, even though they've probably that's one of the positions New Zealand are a bit spoiled in terms of players who are in form. That number 12 jersey. Says, let's go. Says Pete P. And happy birthday, Deb. Says Daniel, did I miss a Deb birthday message? Where's Deb? Can I get a shout out? It's my birthday. Shout out to you, Deb. Of course, I'm sorry that I didn't see that first time round. This game was always going to be close, probably better. Just playing the last 5 minutes. Says John Jones. And also we have got there, did they have Haveli's 2 front teeth or did they find them? Yeah, he's still got them attached, luckily for him. That's why he had to wear that mouth guard. He almost took another shot to the head not too long after, though. And up the Chiefs, says Vatalina. Where are you in New Zealand, bro? I'm situated halfway between Christchurch and Dunedin. Pretty much smack bang in the middle. Which does make it very easy to be impartial for these matchup. Who do you think is going to win? I do still think the Chiefs have got a couple more tries in them. The question is whether or not this Crusaders' pressure of taking the 3 points when they've been available will eventually add up. And at the moment, you know, they've had 1 try compared to the Chiefs 2, but Chiefs have missed 1 attempt at the post, and the Crusaders, with the exception of that early 3-pointer that they missed, they have got the rest of their kicks over. Crusaders is bad, says Safadir. And we have got there, come on, the Chiefs, says Andrew. Oamaru says Zafo, not quite, no. I can't wait for the All Blacks. Says Darren Link. And of course, as soon as their side is announced, we are going to have all sorts of videos coming out. Can you see the mountains? Says Kiwi Rob. Which mountains are we talking? There are a lot of mountains in New Zealand, but I can see some from my house. Will Geordie Barrett make the squad having won a title with Leinster? If he doesn't, I'd say he'll make it for the Rugby Championship. It's just whether or not they'll chuck him straight back in the environment or whether they'll try and get him a few games of the NPC first. I think we'll see Scott Barrett as captain for the ABs. Scott Robertson probably will end up going for him. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's no switch there. They'll want a bit of consistency, I guess. Where is this game happening? It is happening in Christchurch. Now, some might be confused by that because of the fact that if we look at the overall table for the season, as you can see, the Chiefs sitting number 1 in the overall standings. But the reason that they are not as the favourite, or sorry, in terms of the home side, is because they did lose to the Blues in the playoff final. So they did get to advance through because of managing to finish number 1. They got that bye, or slightly lucky loser, as they called it, the chance to go again. But that caused them to lose the home final if the Crusaders won all their games. We have got there, no, I want Savia, not yet. Has Will Jordan scored any time? Not yet, no. He hasn't, he's looked all right in this game, but they've shut him down quite well. I actually do think that both sides do deserve a lot of credit for the way that they've shut down the playmaker of the opposition. Crusaders, they've been rushing up at Damian McKenzie, trying to force him to make a mistake, and it has been working at times. Alongside that, you've got Will Jordan, who, when he's been playing at 15, because of the rush defence from Tupaia, it seems to be shutting him down quite nicely as well. Have they chosen the Barbars team to face the world champs? Not quite. I think they've announced a few of the guys that are going to be playing in that game, but not the whole team just as of yet. And also, we've got there, man, I wish the UK had pineapple lumps and good rugby. And we have also got there, this table confuses me so much, like when is the first home run? Says Zaffo. First home run? Are we talking baseball there? I mean, I know that both of these sides want to be able to hit this final out of the park, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Manages to get over there. Oh, great commentary. Ever tried commentating a match? Says Tuna. Is in like an actual game live? I have not. We have done a lot of games on the channel, of course, but none that I've done in person. Go the Chiefs. And also we have got there, did you hear Richie is out of the Anzac game? I did not, but not having Richie Mo'onga, of course, that is one of those guys that everyone wanted to see in that team. Been lots of errors this game. Is that weather or pressure? A little bit of both, I would say. Like, at the end of the day, the final can create an environment that is very hard to maintain your composure, and that is why, you know, at the end of the day, the Crusaders, they are 31 from 31 playing at home. And it's not what the Chiefs want. They came in as favourites for this contest. Do you know how long the All Blacks, or until the All Blacks start up? So they are being announced on Monday, and then from there, their first game will be early July up against France. I believe on about the 6th of July when that one will be taking place. When the British and Irish Lions game in Australia, or when's the first one? Are you going to commentate it? So we know it is up against the Western Force next Saturday, but unfortunately it does actually overlap with the Japan XV versus Māori All Blacks game. So it's a little bit of a tricky one to decide on in terms of what match to do. We might have to try and do a little bit of multitasking for that one. And I am thanks for the live chat, says Lloyd. No worries at all, but second half has got back underway. How's the crowd? Sold out for this matchup. Been loud in this first half. We haven't heard a huge amount of the cowbells as of yet, but I know that a few people were downloading the apps, getting the boom speakers out there. Now Havili will kick this one down the middle of the field to McKenzie, who was waiting for it at the back. Now does kick this one down the park. Havili should have seen red, says Scott Jones. Just checked in now. Scooter, looking forward to a big play from him. He hasn't been too bad throughout this game, Scott Barrett. He's probably been more involved in this match than some of the past games. Fiji versus Australia taking place July 6th as well, I believe. In the earlier stages of the day. Will Jordan kicking downfield. Just a bit of territory being played early on in the second 40. McKenzie inside of his 22. This time will look for touch. And very good kick from Damian McKenzie. Macca Springer says, no, we're not having that. So he does decide to take it quickly. Havili kicks back downfield at the moment. The Chiefs are slightly winning this territory battle. Sean Stevenson now going for the kick down the middle of the field again. Jordan is back. Kicks down the middle of the field once more. Be surprised if Mo'unga going to be in the squad? I don't think he's allowed to be, unfortunately. Did Leroy Carter get his last haircut in goal? Or in goal? Says Zaffo there. And up the Crusaders, and if the Mighty is wearing headgear, says Steve Porter. Or was he wearing headgear? Now around the halfway line, about 1.5 minutes of pure kicking from these two sides. But now Cody Taylor, he is going to have the line-out throw. We'll reiterate once again, the most accurate line-out in the competition, the Crusaders. But I believe that the Chiefs have got the most line-out steals, or at least right up there for any side. Big shot coming in from Luke Jacobson. He's down. That is a big concern for the All Blacks. Big run here from Ollie Norris. Goes on to Samasoni Tokiahu inside Bordavai. 10 metres out from the line now, but Taylor almost onto the ball. Leroy Carter trying to snipe around the side, but there is big concern for the Chiefs here for Luke Jacobson. Wallace Atiti. Big shot there. Now Ratama searching for possession again. Back across to the left-hand side. Skip past McKenzie. Goes off to Stevenson. Great tackle made by Will Jordan. Had to shut down Quintapai. A little bit of a taste of his own medicine as those two have been going back and forth throughout this game with their defence. Can we get a well done for my soccer team today? It's Deb's son. Says Deb's. Yeah, so if you managed to get yourself a win, big congratulations there. Wait, so is it Deb's birthday or is it her son's birthday? Mate, stop yapping. If I stop yapping, then this would be a very silent commentary. It would sound like this. Not quite the same, is it? And yeah, Cortez says Heaney. And way to go, Will Jordan says Aloy. And we have got there, Dan the Bro knows the stats for sure, says Dog Friendly. And tackle saving try from Will Jordan. And we have got there, blatant high tackle by the Crusaders there. Says username. Right, sub is being called. This is Luke Jacobson gone, ladies and gents. Now, it's an HIA, which would make me think, worst comes to worst, he can still be selected in the All Blacks, and then he would just be maybe missing that first game up against the French. Ring the cowbell, bro. Says Merley. Oh, yeah, nah, his eyes went rolling backwards in his head. He was knocked out right from the start. I think he was out before he even hit the ground. And tried saving tackle, says John there. And how strong is the French team going to be? They've gone with a slightly weakened side, but I do not think anyone should underestimate this young French side. Nice steal with the breakdown, or from the line-out, in fact, from Ethan Blackadder. Hotham rushing up there with the Crusaders. Havili. Oh, I cut out past to Will Jordan, who has space to work with. Beautiful pass on the outside of Macca Springer, who once again will kick it downfield. A better kick from him leaves it for Leroy Carter, not known for his kicking, but honestly not a bad one from where he was on the field. It didn't look like he struck at the best, but just using pure leg strength to push it as far as he could. Great players don't play positions. They play themselves when they need to be. Inspirational right there. I don't like how the Chiefs let the ball bounce in the 22, says Catnap. I understand it, but I don't like the playoff system. Says Flesh, and yeah, there's an opportunity here for the Chiefs to be the first ever side in Super Rugby to have lost a playoff game and then go on to win the competition. That didn't look very straight from Cody Taylor, although wasn't contested. Sits up for Reves Rehana. Oh, loose ball. Picked up again from Hotham. Naito Akoi. Clean out there from Havili, who had to cover a lot of turf to get there and stop the turnover opportunity. Now Hotham, again back to the right-hand side. Blackadder with the surprised catch. I don't think he was quite anticipating that one. Stop literally making this an experience for us by not talking, says Dog Friendly. Now back across Ethan Blackadder. Oh, drops Kalen Boshier. But yeah, big concerns around Luke Jacobson. I have no confidence that he'll be back for the rest of this game, as he did look pretty knocked out. Now, big shot again. Good defence from the Chiefs. Sitting now 7 phases in. Short side, Hotham knock on there from Boshier in the tackle. Strip from Leroy Carter. They'll go back for another scrum. We have the no-brainer, bro. Come on. Commentary on the Māori game. Says Mr. Clemen. Clemen, hopefully I said that correctly. I think that's the way that I am leaning. Perhaps I'll have to try and find a fill-in for that Lions one. And we have got there, the Lions got off to a roaring start. Oh, looks like a bit of concern around the knee of Will Jordan here. He's making a bit of a grimace. Looks like he should be all right, though. I don't have Sky, but you're creating a visual game for me. I know I'm not alone, says Dog Friendly NZ, and we are going to be doing the international games all throughout the next couple of months. Who's the Scrum for? Going to be a Crusaders Scrum. In this case, the Lions got off to a roaring start. But now, Crusaders look like some sort of set pieces planned here. Conversation between Noah Hotham and Reves Rayahana. Halftime leads at Apollo Project Stadiums. Crusaders have won 95% of their games when leading at halftime. 60 from 63 games. But one of their losses was to the Chiefs in round 13 last year. That they were ahead at halftime to go on to lose. Let them do the show, guys. Says Dama there. Well, Jordan has put on some muscle, says Catnap. Where do you live? Says Tab7. I feel like after you've told me to stop talking, I shouldn't answer that question. Well, Jordan should come off. Just to be on the safe side, go the Chiefs, says you're rough. And now another advantage going the way of the Crusaders. 33 minutes left in this contest. Now, that was an awkward slip for Ethan Blacken, and they will now go back for the penalty. Bit of push and shove off the ball between Dyer and Reese. Reese has got him in a side mount at the moment, half guard as it's called. I know Kai Cutter France is going to be in action soon, but Sever Reese wants that UFC scrap as well. And Crusaders will win, says Suliano. And come on, the Chiefs, says Novmum. Now they will go back across for the scrum penalty. Again, another opportunity for the Crusaders to just add 3 if they want it. Are the Crusaders up to their usual dirty tricks, says Andre? Depends on what the dirty tricks that you are speaking of are. I think that both sides have been a little bit scrappy in the breakdowns, though, to be fair. A few things have gone unseen. If I had Sky, I'd be watching the game as is, but praise the bro for giving the visual experience with your commentary. Says Dog Friendly. And I was there, I don't like the Crusaders, says Novmum, but this time now the Crusaders, the mentality has shifted for the second half. They are now going for the corner. Would you cover sheep trials? What is, as in like the selling of sheep? Is that what sheep trials are? I'm not actually too sure what, I mean, I've been told that I could do auctioneering, so I could sell a few sheep in my time. We have got there. Also, don't listen to this bloke. Continue with the commentary, bro. Says Wonga now rolling more chance here for the Crusaders. This is an important moment in the defence for the Chiefs. Although now they start to move. Cody Taylor, a man who has been at times quiet throughout this season, looking for a double, but it's been dragged down by the Chiefs. Penalty advantage against them. Noah Hotham, Reves Rayahana goes across to Eno, who tries to cross kick on the left. It goes to Stevenson. They'll go back now for another penalty. And we have got there, Go Crusaders listening from Wellington. He's SS2. Looks like number 5 this time was the man penalised. That is Tupovai, a sheep shearing year. But trials get effed. And we have got there, I can close my eyes and know what's going on with the match. That's a damn skill, bro, for real, says Dog. Now sitting about 5 metres out from the line again, the Crusaders have got themselves another line-out opportunity. Port Elizabeth, says Liam there. That's him, one of their players, says Foosball. Yeah, I think maybe only 1 or 2 more before we'll see the Chiefs possibly get that last warning. Now, almost stolen by Tupovai. In fact, he's done enough and got the ball, so he gave away the initial penalty, then managed to take it back. And the Chiefs now in possession, getting driven very close to their own goal area. Their dog trials where they guide the sheep around the course, says Ashley. This game is as tight as a new pair of shoes on a rainy day, says Torchbearer. That's a new one. But a good kick downfield from Cortez Ratama. We should be a bit too young to remember a classic TV show, a dog show. I have not heard of it, no. And also, don't tell these stalkers where you stay, says Polo there. Now throw in for Cody Taylor. 25 metres out from the line. Hotham back across to Reves Rayahana. Both sides just on that verge of potentially getting their next try. Bad pass there from Rayahana. Knocked on by Jordan, who had to try and catch it from the turf. And the space was there. We have there Munster fan and Brighton UK go the Chiefs. They're not a better Super Rugby final to watch than this, says Sniper. Yeah, it's been so close between these two sides. Great defense as well from both of these teams. I know that some people would say, oh, it's a lower scoring game than we're used to seeing, but I think it's lower scoring because both sides have really muscled up, both tackling at over 90% in this contest. We see 3 changes now being made by the Chiefs. Big call. It's going to be Ollie Norris off the field for Aidan Ross. Ruben O'Neill makes his way on for George Dyer, and Samisoni Taukiaho makes way for Brody McAllister, in fact. And go the Crusaders, says DR. And hey, interesting match, says NZ Riot. The Chiefs, oh no, I just read that one about the Chiefs have the best record in something. Of course, their record in finals games in Christchurch. There's still history to be written. Listening from South Korea, go the Crusaders, says DR, and Chahu with a big long one from Rich, well, that's a tricky, Rich Kissis, is it? Hopefully I've said that correctly, but go Samoa. And there, of course, the Samoan's going to be in action for the July International, so we will be covering their games. Cover a horse or pony show. Says Colossus. Now, penalty does go the way of the Chiefs, so the first scrum is a successful one. And from the Gold Coast, Australia, Chiefs Mana, says Elson. And heck yeah, best partying, says Martin. And there as well, but the big scrum instantly having the impact with the new front row. And also it's too cold for the Chiefs, says Vashnil, although they had a pretty chilly game up against the Brumbies last week. I think that game was only being played in about 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. Listening in the car up the Crusaders, says Bino. Now throwing it in, Brody McAllister. Almost stolen there. In fact, it might have been knocked back by the Chiefs. Oh, ref was just about to blow his whistle. And in fact, he has here. Knock on by the Crusaders. Another scrum for the Chiefs. Evening Amish was the referee. Referee in charge of this one is Angus Gardner. Brett Cronin, the TMO. And let's go Chiefs, says Lanatasi. In there too. But yeah, knocked back by Scott Barrett initially, and then it was dropped by, I think it was Ethan Blackadder, who does slap the ground out of frustration. And come on the Chiefs, we want to try, says Heaney. Still another 27.5 minutes left. Game is rolling on. Luke Jacobson, I believe, is not going to be returning due to that head knock. But second half points scored. Chiefs in Super Rugby Pacific 2025. 348. And then for the Crusaders, a little bit lower. In fact, second half 182 for the Chiefs. 224 for the Crusaders. But the Chiefs have scored a lot more first half points. Do you commentate so much that you speak about your date like she's not there? Says Dog Friendly. I don't have many dates, unfortunately, so it's not an issue. Wearing a tie can reduce blood flow to the brain by 7.5%, says Pie Man. That doesn't surprise me, to be fair. And sometimes we do have it a little bit too tight, like we're getting choked out. But Sever Reese in the breakdown. Not able to get the steal 40 metres out from the line. Wallace Atiti runs it straight. It's Scott Barrett, but in the breakdown, Christian Leo Willie would have hit the penalty. Oh, no, he doesn't. What's this one for? Offside for the Crusaders. I was wondering what was wrong with Christian Leo Willie's steal there. It was perfectly done, but there was already an offside penalty in play. And we have the best part will be the last 10 minutes with this close game, says Varshnil. And now the decision. Chiefs have decided to call for the tee. This will be the first time they have opted for 3 in this contest. Every other time they have gone for the corner. Is that the right mentality? Now in this scenario, it will give them the lead back. And of course, as you get closer to the final whistle, the more points you can have in front of your opposition, the better. That is pretty self-explanatory. And Chiefs should take the points and go Gardner, get the penalty count record. Says Stephen, the count hasn't actually been that bad throughout this game, though. We were looking at stats at half-time, and we can look at them again. But in terms of discipline for these two sides, we haven't seen a huge amount of penalties. We've seen 6 against both teams at this current point in time. So a pretty low penalty count. A game missed from McKenzie from pretty close out, about 35, but he'd normally get them over in his sleep. But the pressure might be getting to Damian McKenzie there. It will be a goal line dropout. I knew someone was going to hate on the ref, says you're rough. And we have got there, so why have the points slowed down? Your opinion, legit equal teams or both teams waiting for the last try? I think it's just both sides equaling each other very well. And, sounds like a few changes being made for the Crusaders. Cullen Grace making his way onto the field. Speaking of penalties, the most penalised Crusader of all of their side. To Mikey Williams trying to fire up the crowd a little bit as George Bauer makes his way onto the field too. Great commentary as always. Can you say hi to my son James? Shout out to you, James. Oh, appreciate you being here for this final big goal line, 22 dropout from the Chiefs. Big run from Sama Penifi. Now sits down Inor. Now Ratama back across to the right again here. Damien McKenzie finds the pass to Sean Stevens and goes for the cheeky little grubber, but Jordan just has to go into touch. Luckily didn't clean out any children on his way. And the penalty, no. Going back for another Chiefs penalty. From 35 metres, that's atrocious, Damien. Come on, says Scrum. Definitely with a guy who's the second highest accuracy in the top 10 of Super Rugby Pacific with over 80%. And you don't want to pull all in or put all in and waste your stamina when it's this close, says Dog Friendly. And good work, Hamish, says Trio. Thank you very much. But good kicking behind, and Will Jordan just knowing that taking that one over the sideline was the better option. What? Jacobson's passed his HIA. How? He must know the questions off by heart there, man. He's had a fair few head knocks in his time, to be fair, but his eyes rolled back in his head. And I have no idea how he's back out there on the field. But there is a knock-on from the Chiefs. Means now that the Crusaders will have themselves the scrum feed on their 22. And come on, the Chiefs, let's go. A lot of penalties, says Tama. And is it still half-time? It is not still half-time. No, we are about probably a third of the way through the second half, if not even closer to halfway through. Nice suit, says Vitacilla. Thank you very much. He must know the questions off by heart, says Catnap. But now ready to have another scrum. What about dirty tactics from Crusaders? Which dirty tactics are you talking on, Ray? You've been saying it all day, but you haven't given me any examples as of yet. Now, Noah Hotham to put this ball in. You know all the questions. He's been there a fair bit, says Abe. The safety claim is full of... says rough, and the penalty goes the way of the Crusaders at scrum time now. They've really been 50-50, these two sides, when it comes to the competitiveness of their front rows. George Bauer managing to win the penalty for his first one, though. Let's go Crusaders. Try time, says Aloy. Anybody got a spare? It's a bit stressful, says John Jones. And yeah, the stress levels, of course, will continue to rise. It's just the 23 minutes to go. Shout out to Carmen as well, says Luca. And the All Blacks are known for saving stamina. If the defence is on point, break them down and push, says Dog Friendly. And both sides have made a massive amount of tackles throughout this game. In fact, I keep on mentioning it, but I also do want to keep on saying it. The defence from both of these sides has been thoroughly impressive throughout this match. And I know that some people will look at it as a lower scoring game. Another line-out steal this time for the Chiefs. He managed to take it back and now have possession 22 metres out from their own line. Quick hands, Sean Stevenson goes to Leroy Carter, who can't quite sneak through as Havili managed to shut him down. Still half-time. What's happening? No, we are second half. Maybe you paused, Crystal, when you are sitting at the half-time break. But yeah, we're currently 58 minutes through in this matchup. Listening from Yangon in Burma. Says Brendan there, that kick is out on the full, is it? No, not quite. But it will still be about a 30-metre line out here for the Crusaders, who are just creating that little bit more pressure. They haven't had a huge amount of attacking opportunities inside of the Chiefs half, but this is definitely going to be one of the Macca Springer right on the near touchline. The line out taking place on the far side. I believe 30-plus All Blacks in this final, says Tuna. It would not surprise... I'd say 25. I think that we'll see a few Blues sneaking in there as well as a few Canes. In fact, maybe only 20 from these two sides, actually, because you've got the Canes, couple Landers I'd like to think would make their way into. And now, working towards the touchline there with the rolling maul of the Crusaders, tackled by Leroy Carter, as well as Brody McAllister. They're trying to call it as a rolling maul. But referee tells them to release short side. Hotham tries a little chip in behind. It's a different tactic, but there's space there. No one back to cover. Ball is loose. Shalfoon pops it up to Sever Reese. Missed tackle from Jacobson, which is understandable because he is probably still on Dream Street. But now 10 metres out. All Reese staying down with a bit of an injury here too. We have got there up the Chiefs, says Cooper. And what's your option? Defense is good. Do some tricks or be stronger. I think it's just relying on the decision making of both of these sides. We haven't actually seen a huge amount of backline movements, but when we have, like, both sides have been able to shut them down pretty well. Kick downfield from Ratima right on his goal line, but that was a great chance for the Crusaders, who will not go for the quick line out. About 28 metres out from the line now. The Crusaders have got themselves the throw. This is when we get into the really important decisions for both of these sides, but Reese just wrestled down by Brodie McAllister in the end. In fact, I'm not actually too sure what hurt Sever Reese, but he then stayed down, right? Ratima's being taken off. That is for Xavier Rowe. The Chiefs taking off one of the most accurate passes of the whole competition. And Cody Taylor throwing this one in, taken by Antonio Shalfoon. Hotham still out there on the field. Good hands from Reves Rehana. It wasn't the best pass. Now short ball to Scott Barrett. Driven backwards by Wallace Satiti. We have got both sides playing great, says Heaney. Yeah, it's been a really good final so far. And like I said, maybe a little bit lower scoring than some anticipated, but at the end of the day, finals normally does end up that way. These two sides separated by 16 points minimum throughout the season so far, and that was both wins going the way of the Chiefs, including their last game taking place at Apollo Project Stadium. But off to the right-hand side, Noah Hotham. Now Fletcher Null does get tackled. Hotham going short side to Will Jordan. Boy, that's a big shot from Sean Stevenson, but it had to be, as if you allowed Jordan to offload, does create that little bit more danger. But 20 metres out from the line again, the Crusaders reach double digits for the amount of phases they've put together. Hotham off to Antonio Shalfoon. Tackle made by Satiti again. Amoni Narawa almost got himself offside, but managed to pull out long enough that he got back on. Scott Barrett, another carry for the experienced Crusaders head. 15 phases in, looking short side. Antonio Shalfoon, tackled by Rona. Once again, has had one of his consistent enough games go the Crusaders, says Molatika. Up to 18 now. Phases after phases, 18 phases, and also 18 minutes to go in the Super Rugby Pacific final. The Crusaders on the verge of making their way through, but I think they have to shift it here. The forwards aren't making too many metres at all. Cody Taylor getting told to go to the other side, got indicated by a slap on the left butt cheek from Hotham rather than the right. Now again, rolling this one back, Scott Barrett. Chiefs waiting patiently to try and attack, and they have managed to shut down the Crusaders once more. Hotham goes off to Cullen Grace. In fact, that time it's Blackadder who has chopped down 24 phases in a row now. No advantages, no handling errors, but 2 metres gained there for the Crusaders. Christian Leo Willie, that was great work from the Crusaders number 8, but is he held up? The ref says yes. They may just about check this one. I think everyone's trying to clean everyone out, and it's not really working too well. Geez, I'm begging you, please, I might just go broke. Says Latara there. And don't jinx it, says Mo. And also we have got, there goes Crusaders go. Right, Leo Willie looked kind of confident. But the initial decision was held up. Whether or not there is one sort of angle that would show it, I think Daniel Rona is the player who's gotten under. Oh, tell you what. That was close. If that was the ball there next to Daniel Rona's arm, that was all but on the turf. And it looks like Antonio Shalfoon and Cody Taylor both going to make their way off the field. Narawa off. And that is for Tenai Nana Satoro. That is a big call as Narawa. I would have said they would keep him on and maybe take Leroy Carter off just because of activeness throughout this match. Big run from Cullen Grace. But with Cody Taylor going off, it brings George Bell on. I would have liked to see that try opportunity a couple more times in slow-mo. It did actually look a bit closer than maybe they first gave credit for. Another attacking run from Cullen Grace. Noah Hotham passing from the deck. Scott Barrett hits it up again. True leave him on. And also try time, says Jeff. And we have got another donation for David the Mod. Come on, Kiwi Lads fans, hit the like button and subscribe. Help this channel grow. Hey, you've got this. Let's get to 100,000 before Christmas, says David the Mod. So anyone who hasn't already, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated you all being here for this matchup. Going back across the left-hand side, David Havili trying to kick him behind, but McKenzie was ready for it. Manages to take the mark. And now we'll look to boot this ball downfield. Will Jordan, though, he is back and ready. In fact, it's Havili this time. Got a penalty, Chiefs, which the Crusaders win this, says Virasilla. It's certainly going to be close. Going down to the wire, Will Jordan with a great catch under the high ball. Chiefs, Stevenson wanted to take that one in the breakdown. Reves Rehana goes back across. Havili, why has he tried that again? He's seen the space. If it doesn't work at first, he decided to give it another crack. This time the Chiefs once again are ready for it. McKenzie will manage to clear it about 30 metres out. And the Chiefs concede the line out. Chiefs, let's go. And please, says DeVito, look at it. Just look at it, says Dog Friendly. And AQ Lad says, Mano, welcome in, mate. You are doing very well. But a big shot on Will Jordan by Rowe. And also Wallace Satiti. And switch to Jinjin will help the Crusaders. There's Zafo. And now Natoa Koi taken off. And that is for Jimmy Tupou. So a couple big switches being made for both of these teams. And it comes down to whose bench will bring more impact. It is close enough at the moment that one player could make all the difference. Jamie Hanna, the man who makes the most tackles per 80 minutes out of anyone in the Super Rugby Pacific competition. And it's the type of player that you want near the end of the game. Someone who's going to put in the big hits as well as just keep on working. Let's go, G, says Ritz. Now 22 metres out from the line. Again, the Crusaders. If they get a converted try, you have to say this game is almost going to be too out of reach. But the thing is, that's only a try and a penalty in terms of what the Chiefs would have to do. We have still got golden point as an option. In fact, it would even be extra time, I believe, rather than golden point. Now, for that to happen, a few things would, of course, need to take place first. Now knock on there from the Crusaders. In fact, no, it was just a clean steal. Pressure on Damien McKenzie. Tackled by Hotham. Was he offside there? The ball is down. The tries are awarded, but I think there needs to be a check here. The Chiefs, they tried to offload it back. Noah Hotham, he doesn't look 100% certain. I think he was in an offside position at the time that the Chiefs tried to get that ball out the back. So in that case, he would be in through the side, and it would just be the penalty going the way of the Chiefs. I think they are going to be checking this. Right, they're going upstairs. Crusaders on top. And Hotham pushing for their number 10, or number 9, sorry, All Blacks jersey, says Gus. How many minutes left? Still another 14 minutes remaining in this one. Do you have a grounding? Is the comment from Angus Garner. I believe Havili did get it down, but it is definitely the one at the start. Never say such nonsense. Anyone can break for a try, says Zaffo, but one try wouldn't do it for the Chiefs. If the Crusaders do get themselves a converted try here, they would need a try and something. Right, we're going to see it here for Noah Hotham. So the ball was initially stolen in the breakdown from the Chiefs. Then from there, Damien McKenzie tackled by Hotham. He plays that ball from... He's in an offside position, I believe. Because he is allowed to get back to his feet, but I don't think he's gone through the gate at all. In fact, he's only gone through the Chiefs gate. He's in an offside position. He also didn't release. So it probably could have been about 2 or 3 different penalties against Noah Hotham, but the indecision is no try for the Crusaders here. The crowd are not happy, but it was clear. So 9 red is the tackler. He was from an offside position. And we have got there, our Crusaders need to make history tonight, says Fernando. And who's better, or who's playing a better game tonight? It depends on what you're looking at. Because defensively, I believe the Crusaders have more percentage of tackles made. In terms of line breaks and everything like that, they were pretty even overall. The Chiefs have scored 2 tries compared to the Crusaders scoring the 1. So there's so many factors that actually make both of these sides in certain statistics the better side on the field. And discipline, I think both sides have been penalised about 7 times each. So many close similarities. Big shot on Quinn Tapia. Does claim the line out now. Xavier Rowe Going for the box kick downfield. Just the 14 minutes left. Now Will Jordan drops it backwards but manages to regather. Looks to kick it downfield off his left. McKenzie takes it. Now charging forward for the Chiefs. Low tackle made on Ethan Blackadder, or by Ethan Blackadder. Now Rowe lines up Jimmy Tupou. His first carry since making his way onto the park. To replace Naitoa Koi. Back in the pocket, Sean Stevenson looking for the 50-22. It's curling and it's a good kick in the end, but isn't quite the 50-22 he was after. About 25 metres out from the line now. Crusaders will have the line out. If the Crusaders win, we know we have a chance against South Africa in the first final test, or first test series, says Fernando. And also, Chiefs deserve the W. Crusaders are bad. Says Dylan and Gardner is the new Wayne Barnes. Who for, though? I'm curious to know, because like I mentioned, penalty count's pretty much even. I think both sides, in fact, Crusaders have had 2 disallowed tries, haven't they? Chiefs have had the one that got checked that I can think of, or maybe not one that got checked, but they have given away a fair few penalties in this game as well. Now Hotham kicks that one up high. Oh, awkward bouncing one. No one really going for it. In the end, George Bower wins the aerial battle. That's something you don't see too often. And that one's going to go into touch. Big mistake there from Braden Enor. What is a gate doing on the field? Says Jason. And also, let's go. Good game, says Mo and Crusader, says Quinn. Look at how close this is with only 20 minutes left, says NZ Riot. And sounds like a hazard. Says Jason in there too, but it looks like another change is about to be made. Josh Jacob comes on for Sean Stevenson. You wonder whether or not maybe McKenzie drops into the 15 jersey now with Josh Jacob moving to fly half. But Jacobson off to Wallace Atiti with the flat ball. 30 metres out. Leroy Carter pick and go. Done extremely well to shut that man down. All Wallace Atiti injured. We'll have to keep an eye on him. It looks like he has made his way. Oh, he's back to his feet, but he's limping badly. That left leg looks like it's given him some trouble, but he's still joined the breakdown and got the clean out. And Crusaders all the way, says Fernando. And Huntley born Christchurch bred, living in Australia. Come on, Crusaders. Says Mark there as well, but currently 30 metres out from the line. The Chiefs with another opportunity. They've already scored 2 tries. Leroy Carter offloads straight to Macca Springer. Tried to hold him up, but it has been called as a tackle by Gardner. Means that they do have to release Kiwi lad. A long time no see. Chiefs is gonna bring back the gold to my hometown. Or the gold to my hometown, I assume that is. From Drew there. Now David Arvelli shifting away to the right-hand side. Will Jordan in open space. Goes to Enoy. He's lined up by Daniel Rona, who's hurt himself as well. There are a lot of bodies out there that are not 100%. Question is how many of them will be making it into that All Black squad. David Harvelli. Joining that breakdown was Jamie Hanna. Manages to get the clean out on Tupove. Noah Hotham. Once again, going to be going high. Oh, drop ball from Ateno and Nanai Satoro. It will just go into touch. Believe it will be a line out here for the Chiefs. 12 minutes left, says Blues Nate. And also shout out to the boy Shane in the upper hut. And if you Chiefs, says Relaxing Kiwis. And unless you get another a Midcore or DC, no chance, says Kalkal. Crusaders is bad, says Far Selinga. But yeah, massive shot from Daniel Rona. And doesn't the bubblegum nose alter the classification of Bubble Bill ice cream? No idea, mate. I'll be honest. Super Rugby finals on, isn't it? Get the point, please. Says Mo. Right, so they checked that one, but it is going to be Brody McAllister now with the line-out throw. Of course, he did used to play for the Crusaders, but he's playing for the Chiefs in this season. Xavier Rowe gets it across now to Atena Nana Satoro. Kicks down the middle of the field. Will Jordan waiting for it. You just feel like with the last 10 minutes, he's got some sort of special something up his sleeve. Josh Jacob, the youngster, knocks it on, picked up by Jamie Hanna. And now the Crusaders on hot attack once more. Fletcher Noah has to play half and takes a massive shot from Tupove. Now counter ruck from the Chiefs. They get the ball back, but they'll go back for the initial knock on from Jacob. the Templar Knights of the rugby realm, says Asher. Hamish, do you think we could go into extra time? Unless we see 2 penalties taken from the Crusaders and a Chiefs converted try, I don't see it happening just because of the 1 point difference. I do think that the Crusaders also, I'm not sure how many threes they'll take from here. I think they'll try and secure that victory if they can. But this will be a very interesting one to see in terms of that scrum. We have got there, Stan has said, feed the backs, boys. Yeah, it just seems like at the moment, it's something, I think it's just the defence that we've seen that stopped the chance of going out wide too many times. We've seen a couple cross kicks, neither of them have really come off too nicely, but I do think that the back line, those are some fancy posts. They're doing some fun lighting. Possession at the moment in the last 10 minutes is 61% in favour of the Crusaders, 68% territory over the last 10 too. This is when we normally see the Crusaders find their next gear. And we see it time and time again. And we have got there, Crusaders win or lose, says Fernando, and Crusaders all day, says Josephine. So we are moving on to 10 minutes remaining now, ladies and gents. So do let me know who's going to win this game. Will it be the Crusaders holding on to the lead, perhaps scoring now, or will it be the Chiefs to cause the upset? Get Wallace cutting with someone 10 metres out or close. That's checkmate. He'll score, says Kakao. Now big push from the Crusaders. Penalty advantage. Now Rowe has to jump on the ball. But the big decision. What do you do if you're the Crusaders? Do you take the 3 or do you go for the victory? What's the attendance? They are sold out with 17,500, I believe. This stadium holds. What's the choice? They call for the posts. And that is to stop the Chiefs from being able to take a 3-pointer later on. Listening while mucking out with the horse stable in the UK. It's still a bad job, but at least I've got something decent to listen to, says Jason Paul. Yeah, we do thank you very much for tuning in. Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are going to be back with plenty more rugby in the near future. Fletcher Null, the man who wins that penalty, stepping up in a big moment. And now, lining up this kick, Reves Rehana. The pressure is on him. McKenzie, of course, we've seen him miss 2 kicks today. Can Rehana, with a 75% accuracy, bang another one over. Go Crusaders, we got to kick it with a blessed boot. Says Fernando. Looks like a full house fan scattered everywhere watching. Says Blues Native, take the 3. Is the call, but 8 minutes left. Reves Rehana strikes it and gets it down the middle, which is now going to make the score 16 points to 12. The thing is, though, they are still close enough, the Chiefs, that 1 try would give them the lead here. The Crusaders, they would love another 3, and perhaps if they did take it and the Chiefs score, we will get to see a extra time situation, but just the 7.5 minutes remaining. The Crusaders are in the box seat. Preston makes his way onto the field. That is to replace Noah Hotham. Now Preston rolling it back. Come on, Chiefs, get a winning try and bring it home, boys. Says David the Moore. My prediction is 16 points to 12. So you're going, this is the full-time score. And where's the game time? Game time is just there underneath the Chiefs score. 73 minutes into the contest. My cousin plays for the Chiefs. Who's your cousin, Amelia? Do let us know. Kathy has said, go Canterbury. And Hurricanes fan here from Sydney. Chiefs all the way. All taken quickly by the Chiefs. Now sitting 30 metres out. In fact, no, sorry, the Crusaders have ended up with the possession. 7 minutes, says Jose. Yep, 7 minutes still remaining in this match. And come on, the Chiefs pull out. 1, says Kakao. And come on, the Crusaders, says Jose there too. Now being rolled back, Kyle Preston. The up and under. The Chiefs are in the right part of the field here inside of Crusaders territory. What a take that is from Atene. Nana Satora came in like a tracer bullet from the back and managed to get the position on the side of the Chiefs. Josh Jacob tries to step. Notice Quinn Tupaia. He's gone a little bit missing in the second half in terms of the attack, but that may just be because in the last 10 minutes, like I mentioned, we've seen over 60% of the possession in favour of the Chiefs. Xavier Rowe goes across to Jimmy Tupou around the halfway line. At this stage for the Chiefs, they're rolling it back and it looks like they're going to go for the box kick again here. Now chasing after this, it is Quinn Tupaia, but under the high ball, Reves Rehana trying to put his hand up as a potential All Blacks bolter. after what has been a very solid performance in the final of this competition. Goodness amazing, says McEwen family. Now let's go Crusaders, let's go. I come from a long line of Chiefs, says Jim's there. Now kicked high. Will Jordan manages to win the aerial battle with Josh Jacob. Couple mistakes being made by that youngster, but kick downfield from the Crusaders again. Nicely taken by Quintal Byer at the back, but he's met by the tackle from Severis. George Bell, 1 on about 5, trying to get the steal and the breakdown. Does not work for him. The Chiefs, though, they've lost a lot of ground from their kicking game here. And one dry Crusaders, says Sarah. And also looks like my prediction is going to be good 4 points difference. As I said earlier, you did indeed. So might not be a mile off, John, for the charge down with Jamie Hanna to the halfway line. Will Jordan again safe as houses under that high ball. 5 minutes now remaining. Cullen Grace had a couple heavy carries when he first made his way onto the field. Awesome game, says Fino. It has been a very competitive final. I feel like I said, there'll be some who feel like they would have liked to see more tries, but for me, this has been very impressive rugby from both teams in terms of the competitiveness, in terms of those 50-50s, and in terms of just some brilliant defensive work from both teams. Now the Chiefs back in position, sitting 25 metres out from their own line. I do wonder whether or not the tactics from the Chiefs here, of course, a bit early to say, but I just feel like they've made a couple mistakes on when to kick and when not to. There's Reihana again after the Chiefs kick has managed to claim it for the Crusaders. It just seems like the Chiefs don't want the ball, which you don't understand because they're 4 minutes away from losing this final. Now Kyle Preston looking off to the right-hand side. Rush defence from Summer Penny Fee now. Go Crusaders, Chiefs. Oh, Crusaders is the champ, says Gillen. Now back across. 45 metres out from the line. 3.5 minutes left. Keep the ball in hand, Chiefs, says Thomas. And Chiefs are playing like the Highlanders do, says Jason. And Chiefs out of ideas, says rough. But they haven't even, the thing is, they haven't tried a few of their normal plans that work. I feel like maybe just the fact that it's the final chase in after that, all knocked out of the hands of Damian McKenzie. There was a knock-on the ground from Hanna, I felt. Sever Reese running backwards. George Bell with the diving take, but they will now go back for the scrum. Chiefs 22 metres out from their own line, despite how bad the stadium is. Boy, has it been a podium for the Crusaders over the years. Says SS2. Yeah, if they win this game, it would be 32-0. Are you still Canterbury or North Otago, Hamish? Says Andre. I think technically I'm part of Canterbury and South Canterbury, but you can travel like 10 minutes south and then you're a part of North Otago. Crazy game, says Apple Juice. And we have you there. Come on, let's go. No pressure, says Mo, and slow it down. And let's go, Saders, says Jacques. There too. We are on the verge of losing my voice by the sounds of it, which is not ideal. But luckily, we've only got the 2.5 minutes left. But for the Chiefs, they are 2.5 minutes away from potentially giving up what could have been a massive opportunity to win this contest. They just need to get it right in these last couple. Quintal Byer, Josh Jacob trying to kick him behind. Leroy Carter chases it, but it goes into touch. Too much weight on the kick from Jacob. And that is error about number 4 from him since making his way onto the field, unfortunately. And Crusaders dominance, I back, says Dana. And F off home, Chiefs, says Jason. And Crusaders have got this, says Aloy. And go Crusaders, go, says Jeff Jane. All the way, Crusaders, let's go, says Uriah. But now 2 minutes remaining, in fact, less than. Sitting currently 78.5 minutes down. I think engraving on the cup only says who won, not how many cards, tries, penalties, or even the score, says Russell. That is true, and that's going to be claimed by Blackadder. Crusaders, they have the ball again. They've got weight. Is that a knock-on advantage or a penalty advantage? Because if that's a penalty advantage, that is huge for the Crusaders here. Oh no, they want the scrum as the call. I believe that is because they want to get that scrum penalty, or at least try to get it and then go for that last 3-pointer. But 1 minute left on the clock. The tactics from 70 minutes on from the Chiefs have been all wrong. They were right in this contest, then they let it slip just by making some very poor choices. And I think it was since they brought the bench on that it just seems like the ideas are scrambled And now they have to somehow get a massive scrum against the feed to be able to get the victory. But we do see Reves Rayana taken off the field with 55 seconds remaining. That brings on JOC, what will be his last game for the Crusaders. Now we go there. Chiefs lose their bliss in the finals. Rob Penny is stupid. Bring James O'Connor on for like 50 seconds. Although, if it comes down to a last-minute kick, I feel like O'Connor's not a bad option. Thank you to all referees in New Zealand. They make the game. Says Thomas there. 1 minute left. Chiefs intercept. Chiefs win. The scrum is solid. Oh, little bit of wobbliness. And the penalty advantage for the Crusaders. James O'Connor, though, running short side. 30 seconds left. The Chiefs just have to try absolutely anything. A no advantage for offside. 25 seconds left. Kyle Preston calling his shots. Now Scott Barrett. 20 seconds. The Chiefs just have to get in that breakdown and try and rip it away and hope for some sort of miracle here. In fact, the Chiefs need to cynically infringe here, because at least that way there's a chance of a missed kick. If not, then you're just going to watch the Crusaders go phase after phase and then go on to win this game. 2 seconds left. Kyle Preston kicks it into touch. They'll go back for the penalty. The players don't realise. In fact, no, they just said that that's allowed. So the Crusaders victorious in 2025 after last season missing out on the quarterfinals. They come back and they continue their winning record at home. 32 from 32. Heartbreak for the Chiefs. But like I said, that last 10 minutes, just let it slip and seem to lose that composure that they've had all throughout the season. 3 finals, 3 losses. Says Kiwi Rob there. And come on, Crusaders. Says Bino and Crusaders in there too. And well, say it as it is, says Uriah. But what a game of rugby between these two sides. Neck and neck, mono for the full 80, where no one was willing to take that backward step. The Crusaders, they took their 3-pointers when they were available. 1 try scored, that being of Cody Taylor, one of the more experienced veterans for this Crusader side. But their 13th Super Rugby title, the Chiefs, they scored twice. Jacobson, he's gutted, but I also think he's concussed. He went down with a head knock. I have no idea how that man passed the HIA. He's probably got a really bad headache about now, I would say. But Chiefs still a valiant season, finishing top of the table, losing that playoff game up against the Blues. You could say now in hindsight it was a big hit to them as they no longer had that home field advantage for this final. Your best players step up in the finals. No one putting their hands up, says Joe Webby. And also we have that damn up, but congratulations, Crusaders, says Jimbo. And Chiefs make Crusaders work hard, says Andy. Exactly right. Like, there's no denying the Crusaders had to dig extremely deep for this matchup, possibly deeper than they would have been expecting. But Reves Rayhan, a standout performance from that young number 10. You wonder whether or not is there a chance that Razor looks at this performance and says, stick him in as my third 10 for this All Black squad. It's being announced on Monday. Huge celebrations from the Crusaders at the moment. And we have got their great final. Chiefs looking like Buffalo Bills from American football. NFL 4 finals, 4 losses. And also thanks for the commentary. Great game. And yeah, as well, we have got their, can anyone hear cowbells? No way, Hamish, what are you smoking? Says Kiwi Rob. What comment did I make, Kiwi Rob, that you're annoyed at? Probably, I'd say about 50 of them. But it is definitely returned, I guess you could say. You're a great commentator, says Dog Friendly. They should have just run it straight. I think that that last 10 minutes was so much kicking from a Chiefs side that when they attack, they can be dangerous. Like, they've scored the most tries, I believe, out of any side throughout this competition, averaging, I think it's 4.9 per game. In fact, they may even have the same amount of tries as the Crusaders, but of course now with the 2 from this game, means that they get there. About Reves Rayhana as our third 10. All I'm saying is Razor's the coach, and Razor is ex-Crusaders coach, and he is one of those guys that perhaps if they are looking towards the future could be a great option. I do think that Josh Jacob probably shot himself in the foot a little bit in this game as he made his way off the bench and didn't do much right at all, unfortunately, throughout there. We have got there. Thank you, very much appreciated for your feed, says Ryan. No worries at all. And we are, of course, going to be here next weekend with plenty more games that are taking place. South Africa versus the Barbarians. Māori All Blacks taking on Japan. Okay, Laura McGoldrick just got a big hug from one of the Crusaders coaches, I believe it was. She has been going for them throughout the season, of course. We have got there, Hamish is the real GOAT, no biasness, straight down the line commentating. One performance doesn't mean an AB's call-up. Says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, it's not just one performance, though, from Davies Reihana. He's actually stepped up quite nicely throughout this season. In terms of his numbers going into this game, we've got it somewhere here. Where is he? Davies Reihana. He's had 451 metres carried. He's had 21 defenders beaten, 4 line breaks. He's had a decent amount of tackles, not a massive amount. A couple dominant ones in there. His kicking's been pretty handy throughout the season. He's actually had the most kicking metres out of any player for the Crusaders, and a lot of them were in the right place this week. And just now Penny do the breakdance, says Pete P. You know, the man Hamish says, Darren, thank you very much, and big thanks for that. Much appreciated. Thoroughly enjoyed your commentary and coverage, says John. And there too. But like I said, plenty more games coming next week, ladies and gents. But I do thank you all very much for being here for not just this final, but also all throughout this Super Rugby season. And thank you very much, and congratulations to the Crusaders. It's sad about the Chiefs. So it is. I mean, the Chiefs, they did so well throughout the season, and they did so well throughout this match. Like, I know that they'll be disappointed, but losing by the 4-point margin easily could have gone the other way. They just needed to get it right. And unfortunately, in the second half, unable to score any points, I believe, for the Chiefs, which is a massive difference compared to what we've seen throughout the rest of their Super Rugby season. Whereas for the Crusaders, very low-scoring second half for them too, just the 3 points being taken. Will Jordan should be man of the match. He had a phenomenal last 10 minutes too. I mentioned about it at around the 65th minute that I felt like Will Jordan was going to have a couple match-winning moments, or at least one big one. But I do think his consistency under the high ball was definitely what helped the Crusaders. Definitely when the Chiefs went to more of that kicking game. Luke Jacobson there saying that it's a classic final. He's got a busted up nose, but he is definitely in contention for that All Black squad that is being announced on Monday. We will be doing a live stream for that announcement, ladies and gents, as well as a few videos all throughout the week to do with that side, as well as the upcoming week of rugby too. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Massive congratulations to not just the Crusaders, but to the Chiefs as well, having a great season. I'm sure next year we'll see them be right up there as well. But thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.